Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well and staying safe. I'd like to call the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners meeting to order. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation given by our chaplain, Commissioner Stacy White.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You'll either have an image of an American flag on your screen or there's one behind me. In my feed, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for the opportunity to recognize the causes and organizations before us today, including the Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Return to sports means small steps to a return to normal, and we're thankful for that, Lord. I want to pray for all those who have been impacted by COVID-19 and continue on a path towards recovery there. Pray for those that have been impacted by various weather events and natural disasters, that we will have a swift recovery from those events. And as always, I pray for our first responders and members of our armed forces. Pray that you will guide them, keep them safe each and every day. And I give all these thanks and ask for all these blessings in your heavenly name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Commissioner White, for that pledge and that prayer. We appreciate it so very, very much. Roll call, please, to establish a quorum.
Miller,
Here.
Hagan,
Here.
Kemp, Commissioner Kemp, Merman,
Here.
Overman,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
White.
Here.
You have a quorum, sir.
Thank you very much. Today, we're presenting 4 special recognitions. We were to present the 2020 Ellsworth G. Simmons Good Government Award, but our recipient, Senator Athenia Joyner, is ill and cannot be with us this morning. Therefore, we'll present that award at our October 21st meeting. All of the other participants are joining us virtually today. Because we had an historic event last week in Hillsborough County, we're going to start this morning with a very special proclamation. I'm so proud to honor a team of champions that has electrified the entire Tampa Bay region during their historic run to return the Stanley Cup. So Stanley will be getting a tan to Hillsborough County, and that team is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Are the Lightning's owner Jeff Vinnick and CEO Steve Griggs with us this morning? I see Mr. Griggs, you need to mute yourself there, sir.
Yep, I'm here. This is Jeff Vinnick.
Good morning,
Steve
sir.
Griggs, we're here.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to have you here. Thank you so very much. On September 28th, the Tampa Bay Lightning won its 2nd Stanley Cup championship. Throughout its competitive season, the Bolts were a force to behold. They conquered formidable opponents, including the Boston Bruins, the league's #1 team in the regular season, before defeating the Dallas Stars 4-2 in the Stanley Cup final. Led by General Manager Julian Brisbois, I hope I pronounced his name right, and head coach John Cooper, the Lightning have been nationally recognized for their hard work, dedication, and fantastic ability to function as a team. It is the board's pleasure to declare October 7th as Tampa Bay Lightning Champions Day. And I'll read the proclamation and reads thusly. Whereas on December 6, 1990, the National Hockey League Board of Governors voted unanimously to extend from 22 to 24 teams, with Tampa Bay being awarded one of the franchises. And whereas, headed by Phil Esposito, one of the greatest players in the National Hockey League history, the Tampa Bay ownership group christened the team the Lightning due to the area's status as the Lightning capital of North America, and they began play in 1992. And whereas, since its inception, the Lightning has developed an extensive fan base, in part by playing in multiple locations, initially at the Expo Hall at the Florida State Fairgrounds in Tampa, then at the Thunderdome, now known as Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, and since 1996.
Okay. All right.
Please mute your microphones. Please mute your microphones. Thank you. now as known as Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, and since 1996 in the Amalie Arena in downtown Tampa. And whereas also known as the Boats, the team made the playoffs for the first time in 1996, losing a 6-game series to the Philadelphia Flyers by drawing a National Hockey League record postseason record crowd of 28,183 fans to the Thunderdome. And whereas in 2004, the Boats defeated the Calgary Flames to win the Stanley Cup, electrifying the community and shattering the myth of that ice hockey was only for cold weather states. And whereas on March 3rd, 2010, Jeff Bennick purchased the Lightning, and under his leadership, the Bolts became a Stanley Cup contender, reaching another Cup final in 2015. And whereas Mr. Bennick and the Lightning are treasured community partners, recognizing grassroots heroes with financial awards and collaborating with Hillsborough County to expand hockey opportunities for young people. And whereas in March 2020, the National Hockey League was forced to stop play for 4 months due to the coronavirus pandemic before resuming play with a uniquely designed but grueling Stanley Cup playoffs that took place without fans in 2 Canadian locations. And whereas sharply focused and determined up for a disappointing end to the 2018-19 season, the Lightning won the Stanley Cup in record-setting fashion, beating 3 other teams before besting the Dallas Stars 4-2 in the final. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare October 7th, 2020 as Tampa Bay Lightning Champion Day in Hillsborough County. We congratulate the Lightning on winning its 2nd Stanley Cup championship and encourage everyone to support the organization for its magnificent achievements on and off the ice. Execute the 7th day of October 2020, signed by all 7 members of the County Commission. And let me congratulate Mr. Bennick and Mr. Greer on what an outstanding run you did under some very difficult circumstances. I can imagine being in that bubble for that long a period of time and those players and coaches being away from home had to be very difficult. But they kept their eye on the prize and they won the championship. I don't know much about hockey. I watch it, I scream, I holler. Only thing I know is that I know offsides and I know when to score. But I was screaming every game. I watched it all. So congratulations, and gentlemen, who's going to be first to say a few words?
Yeah, I will, Commissioner Miller. And thank you, Commissioner Miller. Thank you, all the commissioners. Obviously, we couldn't be more pleased to be here today. Aless, I have to commend you. My wife, it's been 10 years. She's not listening in, but she hasn't gotten offsides down yet. So if you're that, you're already a hockey aficionado there. So we did have a thrilling event last week. I got asked several times. People asked me or said to me, well, it's great to win, or it's great to be in a position to win, but you know, isn't it disappointing that you can't be in front of your fans, that you can't even go to Edmonton and watch the Lightning win, et cetera. And yeah, obviously that's disappointing, but my response was always, you know, that's the least of the Tampa Bay Lightning's problems and my problems right now, or those problems pale in comparison to what other people are going through. We all know this year, 2020, has probably been the most challenging year for everybody on this call and everybody on this planet at one time collectively together. And the way the Lightning look at this championship, again, we're so pleased to win it, is that if we're able to give a little ray of sunshine or of joy to this Tampa Bay region during such a difficult time where so many people are hurt and continue to hurt, if we are able to do that, well, then this championship is even more meaningful to us. And frankly, from my personal point of view, a little positive out of COVID, my kids, because they're all grown up and they're all working from home, they were able to be, my 4 kids were with Penny and me for the last 2 months straight. And we got to watch this whole thing as a family and celebrate as a family, which is, for everybody else who's been able to have kids at home, it's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a little bit of the bright side of COVID. Very proud of our guys for winning this championship. They went through ups and downs over the year. You know, frankly, we've been the most talented team in hockey for a number of years, but and we've won more playoffs than anybody else over the last 6 years. We've won 11 and lost 4 playoff series, but it took till this year till we had the experience and not had too many injuries and a hot goalie. Everything went right to win the Stanley Cup. I'd be also remiss without saying the incredible support we get not only from the county commission, but from this entire Tampa Bay area. We would not be able to have winning hockey. We would not be able to be as part of the community as we try to be if it weren't for everybody in this Tampa Bay area. So we are extraordinarily thankful for everybody that supports us, whether they're supporting our hockey team or concert events. We hope to get all that back in Emily Arena as early as we can in 2021, or other activities that we do off the ice. So we're fortunate to win this thing. I'm proud of our guys, and we're just so thankful for being here today and thankful to the community for supporting us like they do. So on that note, I will pass it along to Steve Griggs. As you all know, my formula is hire great people, don't interfere, and let them do their jobs. And I'm fortunate to have Steve Griggs as CEO, Julian Brisebois as general manager, because they do a great job and make it easy for me to stay away and enjoy winning hockey games. So, Steve.
Well, thank you, Jeff. We're working on it here, but we do have Stanley in the office here, so we'll make sure that you haven't seen Stanley, and we'll make sure that we get this back up online here. So it is pretty cool when you got the Stanley Cup sitting in your office. So, I've been blessed to work for Jeff Vinnick for the last 10 years, and you know, he has said that we will build a world-class organization and continue to give back to the community. And our partnership with the county and with the county commissioners, I really want to thank Administrator Wise. We've worked together for 10 years on a number of projects here. Chair Miller as well, thank you very much, and all the other commissioners. But you've asked us to be good stewards of your building here, the Emily Arena. And we built it into the best arena in North America when you talk about events being in the building. And Chair Miller, I do owe you a tennis event in the building, and we're working hard to make sure we get you one of those.
Thank you.
But we've worked hard over the last 10 years to transform this building back in 11 and 12, and then in 15, 16, and now working with all of your people there at the county to make sure that as we move into post-COVID, making sure that this is the safe and healthiest building in North America, and that is our goal, and to make sure that this is once again the community center for all of Hillsborough County. So it was an amazing week last week. As I said to Jeff, if we have to do a parade all over again, which I would hope we do in the near future, it will definitely be back on the river, because there's no other way to do a parade in North America than on the Hillsborough River. So it was an incredible event with the community. And so I just want to thank everyone that's on here, and look forward to doing it again next year.
Thank you, sir. Thank both of you. Before we move on, see some hands from commissioners. Commissioner Merman, you're recognized. Mr. Commissioner Merman, unmute yourself.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I want to thank Jeff and Steve and just the whole Lightning team for an incredible effort, and just a heartfelt congratulations. This community is so lucky and fortunate to have you, especially just for what you give back to the community is so important. But just bring in the best players here, and they all live here in the community. They participate in community events, and it's just it's a big family. And I can't tell you how much it means to me and to everybody here at the county that we have you as such a great partner. So thank you all very much.
Commissioner Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I want to congratulate the Lightning players for this incredible accomplishment. You know, I'm sure, as Commissioner Miller said, that playing in the middle of a pandemic, far from your family and friends and fans wasn't easy, but you all persevered. And I am especially grateful to you all for setting a good example for our community. It's so important to have that example from the celebrities and the sports players right here at home, staying in your bubbles and encouraging everyone to be cautious, wear their masks, and socially distance. That's been a very big contribution to our community. Your victory means a lot to us in this time when good news and team spirit is especially valuable. Like Mr. Vinnick said, it is a ray of sunshine. It's more than that. And special congratulations to Victor Hedman for receiving the Conn Smythe Award for being the most valuable player during the playoffs. And just congratulations to all the players, the staff, and everyone in the Lightning organization for bringing home that big, beautiful cup and cheering us all up. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Kemp, you're recognized.
Thank you. I also wanted to say, more than a ray of sunshine, it was a bolt of lightning. And thank you so much. And we are so happy that Stanley Cup, having Lord Stanley back, is amazing. I was amazed to see our mayor lift it above her head. I mean, that was quite a moment. But I just think it is amazing that during these COVID times that the bubble worked. The bubble worked. And just as Commissioner Smith said, we are so happy that the season was played out. And like you said about the benefits for you, Mr. Vinnick, in terms of your family coming back. And there might be, I think, a lot of that going on, people starting to hold tight to the precious things in life, family and others, and have at least that experience during these times. So we are so happy for the Lightning, and so happy for the work that you do in this community to make Hillsborough better. We feel very lucky to have the Lightning have chosen this place. And thank you so much. And we're go Bolts, go Lightning. Yes, Lord Stanley.
Thank you. Commissioner Overman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. I appreciate that. To the entire Lightning organization as well, all the players and all the staff, and you're the leadership at, a building, no disrespect to Emily, but I still call it the Ice Palace because, the Lightning take the precedence in the community of taking the lead and giving back and being good stewards and being great partners and being the economic engine that it is for the Tampa Bay region. And I can't thank you enough. You are bringing hockey to a community that may not have really appreciated it in the past. My grandson got to see the first score of the last game. He had to go to bed before the end of the game, but he got to see half of it by seeing the first score, and was really excited about it and was a little disappointed he couldn't watch the whole thing. But you've created another hockey fan. And I'm really proud of the entire organization and what you bring to the community. And thank you for your partnership with Hillsborough County. We appreciate it. As you heard earlier, the example that you set, and the precautions and the things that you're doing to keep Emily Arena safe for our people and our community and our tourists and our visitors. Safe in that facility is a testament to the honor that you bring to keeping our community safe and functioning and operating. So thanks so much. Appreciate it. Go Bolts.
Again, Mr. Vinnick and Mr. Griggs, thank you so very, very much for all that you do for the community. And thank you so very much for bringing the best hockey team in the world to Tampa.
Commissioner Miller, I got my hand up.
Okay, I don't see it, but go ahead. Commissioner Hagan, you recognize. I'm sorry, Mr. I didn't see it.
Thank you. I just want to say I can't say enough about the outstanding work of Jeff Vinnick, Steve Griggs, John Cooper, Julian Breezewall, Bill Wickett, the players, and the entire organization. To accomplish what they did under such difficult conditions is a testament to the players' will, work ethic, and teamwork. Having to win 16 playoff games makes this the hardest championship to win in all professional sports. However, to be in a bubble away from your family and friends for 65 days during a pandemic makes this the most difficult championship in NHL history. And as we all know, this organization is much more than an NHL team. Mr. Vinnick and his leadership team built the model franchise in all professional sports. And you are one of Hillsborough County's most valuable partners. And I just want to personally thank you for giving our community a lifetime of memories. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm sorry about that, Mr. Hagan. We'll work on your hand in a minute. But again, thank you so very much, gentlemen, for being here, and thank you for bringing a championship team to Hillsborough County. I don't think you're going to get much rest because I think I saw that the NHL is talking about starting a season in January. I'm not mistaken. So that means you got to get back to work. I don't know how they're going to do it and what they're going to do, but again, congratulations, and we look forward to the season starting soon. And maybe Sir Stanley will just stay in Tampa for another few 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So again, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate it. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
Before we move on to the next proclamation, Commissioner Hagan, could you press your hand button? Let me see what's going on here. Okay, now I see it. It's working now. I didn't see it the last time. I see it now. You can take it down. Thank you. The next two recognitions will be given by Commissioner Merman. Commissioner Merman, you're recognized. Need to unmute yourself, Commissioner Merman. Commissioner Merman.
Got
there
it.
you go.
Is Dr. Oliver Massey on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, great. Okay. Dr. Massey is chair of the Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee. And I'm so glad and proud that you're here because you've been chairing this committee for many years. This is a subject that's near and dear to my heart. Have done many work over the last years with our schools and listened to the concerns from parents. Bullying is a serious concern within our schools and the community. This Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee was started by former County Commissioner Rose Ferlita right before I came on board in 2010. And then I picked up the ball and just kind of ran with it from there. The Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners has sought to curb and eliminate bullying through the creation of this Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee, also known as ABAC. Since 2009, the committee supported numerous successful interventions, community awareness efforts to address the issue of bullying. We had the star of the show from Blindside work alongside with us for a couple of years. And it really helped us in the messaging out to schools and also to the kids. Today, Dr. Tom Massey, who has chaired the ABAC since its founding, is here to receive the proclamation recognizing the work of the committee and its partners. And I'd like to read the proclamation, and then I'm going to ask you to say a few words, Dr. Massey. And then we have some other presentations to make. The proclamation reads, whereas bullying is physical, verbal, written, or emotional harm, or intimidation intentionally and maliciously directed at a person or group of people. Whereas bullying occurs in neighborhoods, playgrounds, and schools, and increasingly includes cyberbullying, which occurs online through social media, mobile devices, and other technology. Whereas cyberbullying is a pervasive threat where messages and images are posted anonymously, distributed quickly, and are difficult to delete or remove once they're posted. Whereas the National Center for Education Statistics indicates 1 out of every 5 students reports being bullied, and published research shows the percentage of individuals who have experienced cyberbullying at some point in their lifetimes has more than doubled from 18% to 37% from 2007 to 2019. Whereas the Centers for Disease Control indicates students who experience bullying are at increased risk for depression, anxiety, sleep difficulties, lower academic achievement, and dropping out of school. Whereas the Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners established the Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee, and it is comprised of law enforcement, social workers, caretakers, Hillsborough County School District, University of South Florida, children's services organizations, and other stakeholders who collaborate on initiatives to eliminate bullying. Whereas the committee has championed numerous countywide bullying prevention efforts, including the Bully Busters program, the Always Bullying Prevention Program, 15 Students Against Violence Everywhere, and that's called SAVE, and that's in our school-based clubs. The county's annual Anti-Bullying Recognition Award, collaborating with the Innovative Theater to support community anti-bullying lunch and learns, and talkback sessions, and continues to explore appropriate platforms to educate the community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare October 2020 as Bullying Prevention Month in Hillsborough County, urges all residents to make the community safer for young people by taking a stand against bullying. And this is executed the 7th day of October 2020, and it is, of course, signed by all 7 county commissioners. And Dr. Massey, I'd like for you to say a few words.
Thank you, Commissioner Merman. And as chair of the Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee, and on behalf of the members, I just want to thank the Board of County Commissioners and you, Commissioner Merman, and as well as the staff of Hillsborough County who have supported our efforts. As you've just said, bullying and cyberbullying are very serious issues affecting Hillsborough County youth, and it's something we just have to continually think about. I'd like to add that the ABAC members have all worked very hard to give their time and effort to raise awareness and to address bullying. And I think I can say with confidence all the members also appreciate the support of the BOCC. I think it's a very important issue, and I appreciate all your support. Let me add real quickly, too, finally, I wanted to thank Dr. Jeannie Wilsey, who was the chair of the subcommittee, who was responsible this year for identifying the awardees. And I believe you have something you'd like to say about the awardees, so I'm going to let you do that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Massey. And again, thank you for all your hard work on this committee. Next, it's my pleasure to honor 2 of our Hillsborough County youth for their shining examples of how young people can lead the charge in addressing and eliminating bullying in our community. This year, we are recognizing both a recent high school graduate as our 2020 Anti-Bullying Award winner and an elementary school student as the recipient of the 2020 Emerging Leader Award. And so I will start with the 2020 Annual Anti-Bullying Recognition, which is going to Miss J.C. Garcia. The Anti-Bullying Recognition Award goes to a young person or group of young people up to age 19 to highlight their amazing efforts to eliminate bullying. This year's award winner, J.C. Garcia, was nominated by her mother, Michelle Garcia, and recommended by the ABAC committee. Are J.C. and her parents here today?
Hi, yes we are. We're here today.
Oh, great. Okay, super. Good to have you with us. JC is 18 years old. She graduated from Brandon High School this year. Here are a few examples of JC's leadership, education, advocacy, and intervention efforts. As the president of her 4-H club, she recently started monthly anti-bullying presentations. Her club consists of 35 youth aged 8 to 18 years old, many of whom have special needs. She helped educate her cheerleading squad about bullying. She educates the community at large through anti-bullying poster distribution and speaking at county fairs. Presently, JC is a fire cadet for Hillsborough County Fire Rescue, and she plans to attend Hillsborough Community College, eventually attend the Fire Academy. We could not be more proud of her accomplishments, and it's an honor to present her with the 2020 Annual Anti-Bullying Recognition Award. And I hope you can see this award. It's really, it's great. And you will also receive a recognition from the sponsors of the award will be delivered to you today. So this is really great, and I'd love to have you say a few words. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you very much to everyone who was involved in this. I wanted to say thank you for my mom, and I'm very nervous, but thank you so much for everything, and go Bucks. Thank you.
Got the right color on. Great. Well, that's super. Well, we're very, very proud of you and all the actions you've taken to prevent bullying in our schools. Very good. Thank you very much. And Elia Ewing will also present the gift to JC. And is Elia Ewing here from Windward Wealth Management?
I am here. Thank you, Commissioner Merman.
Good.
Just wanted to give a quick thank you to the Board of County Commissioners, the Hillsborough County Anti-Bullying Advisory Committee, and most importantly to our 2020 Anti-Bullying Recognition Award winner, JC Garcia. My name is Elia Ewing. I'm a private wealth advisor with Windward Wealth Management. It's a private wealth advisory practice of Ameriprise Financial. I can say that I have had the great privilege of sponsoring this award since its inception 3 years ago. And honestly, getting to know the recipients of the award and hearing their stories has honestly made this day one of the more uplifting days of my year. In a normal year, 2020 obviously maybe has brought that up a couple of notches, so it makes it even more so for me. Personally, I can say that our team at Windward Wealth Management, we've got diverse strengths and experiences and really a commitment to identifying and understanding our clients' goals. It's reflected in our team-based approach, vision, knowledge, training, collaboration, much like a lot of the buzzwords that's earned JC this award today. We work every day with individuals and families to help them stay on course towards the things that are most important to them. And I think congratulations, honestly, no, thank you to JC Garcia for being a voice for those who can't speak, striving to do what's right, not just what's easy. There's no act that's too small, no words too inconsequential. There's no telling how the smallest action could grow into the future. So I would say continue to live your life in pursuit of your goals, being a bright light for the next generation to follow. And we wish you the best of luck in college and all your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ewing, for your sponsorship of the award. Really appreciate all your contributions.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Also, the next award is our 2020 Emerging Leader Recognition Award. And we are pleased to present this award, this Hillsborough County Anti-Bullying Emerging Leader Recognition Award to Logan Andress. This is the first year we are recognizing the emerging leader based upon the Anti-Bullying Committee's recommendations. The Emerging Leader Award recognizes younger age youth who are exhibiting leadership traits by taking a stand against bullying. Logan was nominated by his friend Ayan Shaw and recommended by the Hillsborough County ABAC Committee. Are Logan and his parents here today?
Yes, we are here.
Great. Glad you could be with us and congratulations. The following statement is taken from Logan's classmate who nominated him for this recognition. My name is Ayan Shaw and Logan Andress is my friend. He is 10 years old, studying at Childs Elementary in 5th grade. I'm a 10-year-old South Asian boy who moved to Florida from Virginia in August 2019. I made many friends. I was starting to feel like I could like Florida. Since I'm a vegetarian, I don't like the school's lunches. My mom packs me lunches every day. One favorite is homemade pesto pasta with mushrooms and olives. Sometimes it can have a strong aroma. One day, another classmate of ours commented about how yucky my food was, laughed at me, and moved away from my table, taking others with him. I was ready to throw my favorite lunch in the garbage when Logan moved next to me. He asked the classmate if his mom made him lunches. When the classmate said no, Logan said quite loudly, Ayan's food is special because his mom wakes up every morning to prepare his food. The classmate said, sorry. No one has dared to comment on my lunches since then, and I will forever remember his kind words. That is amazing, Logan. Today, we recognize this exceptional young man and could not be prouder of Logan for being a role model for defending his friend and others from bullying. It's a pleasure to present him the Hillsborough County Anti-Bullying Emerging Leader Recognition Award. And it's really cute. It's a little ball. I hope you can see it. This will be delivered to you. And I'd love for you to say a few words and actually your parents too, if you'd like to say a few words.
I'm very thankful I have this award, and in the moment, I was just really trying to help my friends. I never expected an award.
And his father and I are very proud of him. We're glad that he made a difference for his friend and can make the world a better place. And we're very happy when positive things are recognized and brought into the light. So we're very grateful and very proud of Logan.
Oh, that's great. I'm sure you're very proud of him. And I would also like to ask, is Mark Matthews from Matthews Injury Law, is he on the line? He'd like to present a special gift to you.
Yes, I am, Commissioner Merman. Thank you. As the commissioner said, my name is Mark Matthews. I'm a personal injury attorney here in Tampa. I've been blessed to have had the support of our community since I started my firm 7 years ago, and I've always tried to give back. Last year, a young single mom came to me after her daughter was being severely bullied, requiring numerous hospital visits and over $100,000 in medical bills. At a very difficult middle school age, bullied for the color of her skin and her financial status. I took on that case, but I wanted to do more. Little did I know that I would find such an excellent program right here in my backyard in the city of Tampa. I want to thank Hillsborough County and all the county commissioners, but I really want to thank all of the applicants and this year's winners, J.C. Garcia and Logan Andress. Life is not a zero-sum game with only winners and losers. There's room for all of us to succeed if we are all kind, if we're all respectful, and if we all stand up for what is right. Thank you, JC and Logan, for understanding that and continuing to spread this positive message. I'm proud and honored to support and celebrate you both today, and you'll both be receiving a check from my firm here in the near future that'll be delivered through the Hillsborough County Commissioners. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you for your sponsorship. We really appreciate and for your charitable act to help kids in our community and everybody to be safe and have a great education without fear of bullying. And I think that's the important message here. So that wraps up the anti-bullying presentation and proclamation. Is there any comments, Mr. Chair, or anyone?
No, ma'am, I see no comments. And again, congratulations to everyone. I'm going to have to sign out. For some reason, I'm getting a bad feedback, so I'm going to have to sign out and come back. So, Commissioner Merman, you recognize now the next proclamation.
I will. Thank you. Okay. Is Beth Garland? I see Beth. Beth is there. Yes. Hi. She is the Senior Vice President at Ultimate Medical Academy, and she is the our volunteer event chair for Making Strides Against Breast Cancer of Tampa. And you're here today. Thank you very much for being present. The next proclamation is something I've done every year since I've been on the commission. It recognizes an important cause that is near and dear to my heart, as recognizing October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We usually have a big event in the park, and of course with COVID this year, we're not able to do that, but we're celebrating anyway, and we're recognizing how important this awareness program is. In honor of the occasion, we celebrate Think Pink. It's a special event where we not only take a moment to remember those we have lost, we also offer our support to our families and friends who are winning the fight against cancer. And of course, many of those are employees here at Hillsborough County. We wear pink in honor of those who combat this horrible disease and for their families. This video further illustrates how Think Pink has significantly raised our awareness on breast cancer. And if we could roll the video. There we go. Thank you.
These events are so important because you're showing support. You're also providing an opportunity for folks to see I'm not alone.
9 years clean. I was detected in 2009. Went through surgery, chemotherapy, and radiation, and I'm just thankful for every day.
of the biggest things to help is just to talk about it and tell people what you're going through. And a lot of people, when they hear your story, they're encouraged.
Thank you all very much. That was a wonderful video. And it's a privilege to present Ms. Garland with this proclamation, which I will now read into the record. Reads, whereas breast cancer is the most prevalent form of cancer among women and the second leading cause of cancer death, according to the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Whereas the 5-year relative survival rates for women with breast cancer range from nearly 100% to as low as 27%, depending upon the circumstances and the stage. Whereas breast cancer death rates declined 40% from 1989 to 2017, with the progress attributed to improvements in early detection, including mammograms, the most effective screening method. And breast cancer incident rates in the United States began decreasing in the year 2000, dropping by 7% from 2002 to 2003 alone, but has slowly increased by 0.3% per year since 2004, according to the American Cancer Society. Whereas a nutritious, low-fat diet with plenty of fruits and greens and orange vegetables, along with as little as 3 hours of exercise a week, can help reduce the risk of developing breast cancer. Whereas researchers across the world are continuing to develop new imaging tests, treatments, and other procedures to find better ways to prevent, detect, and treat breast cancer and improve the quality of life of patients and survivors. Whereas according to the National Cancer Institute, Hillsborough County has the 17th highest annual incidence rate of breast cancer among women in Florida counties in 2016, the latest year the statistic is available. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare October 2020 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month in Hillsborough County, urges all women to be screened for the disease, and encourages everyone to learn about breast cancer risk factors and to think pink during the month of October, executed the 7th day of October 2020. And of course, it's signed by all 7 county commissioners. I'm so proud to present this proclamation to you again every single year. As you know, this terrible disease comes close to home to one of my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Miller. And I'd like to ask Beth, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you so much, Commissioner Merman, and thank you for having me here today. As the chair of Tampa's American Cancer Society's Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Walk, it's my great honor to accept this proclamation from you, Commissioner Merman, and the Hillsborough Board of County Commissioners. And we do know it's particularly meaningful for Commissioner Miller, and we're so happy to learn that his wife and daughter are both breast cancer survivors. Commissioner Merman always has lent support to the fight against breast cancer, but the 2020 proclamation will infuse us with greater resolve as we continue to take on this most challenging year. According to the American Cancer Society, never before in the organization's 107-year history has the mission faced such improbable difficulties. Postponed events and huge decline in charitable donations had led us to a $200 million revenue shortfall. And in fact, if current trends continue, the ACS will have to reduce funding of cancer research by 50%, the lowest investment in a century, which could set back cancer research for an entire generation. But cancer hasn't stopped, and neither can we. Our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Tampa season will not culminate with our normal walk by gathering at Raymond James Stadium, but Strides is more than a walk, it's a movement. And the Making Strides movement raises awareness and funds to end breast cancer and ensures that no one faces this disease alone. Since 1993, more than 16 million supporters across the United States have raised more than $990 million nationwide. And these funds go to a critical patient and caregiver support, as well as cancer research. And it funds services around like Reach to Recovery, which is our peer counseling program for breast cancer survivors. As a senior vice president at Ultimate Medical Academy based here in Tampa, I really proudly boast of our partnership with the American Cancer Society. In 2019, we had the largest team in the nation with over 1,150 registered walkers. And this year, we've set an even bigger goal. We see this movement as limitless. We've invited our students, faculty, and staff from around the country to participate, and we have a goal of 2,500 registered walkers. And as of this moment, we're at 2,481, so we're almost there. And our president, Tom Rometta, is one of the national leaders in the Real Men Wear Pink campaign, and he's already raised over more than $27,000, and he's number 5 in the nation with that goal. So this is a difficult year, but through innovation, enthusiasm, and ingenuity, we remain determined to move even closer to creating a future without cancer. And we so appreciate the support and the recognition of the Hillsborough County Board of Commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you, Beth, for those great words. And also, I'd like to see if Ivy Martin, who from our Human Resources Department is on the line. She wants to also convey a message as she helps many employees in our organization cope with this terrible disease. Is Ivy on?
Yes, Commissioner Merman, good morning. Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning. Thank you, Commissioner Merman, for recognizing October 2020 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This cause is too very near and dear to my heart. I have close family members who have battled breast cancer and are survivors. Breast cancer continues to be the second most diagnosed cancer in women, with skin cancer being first. As Commissioner Merman mentioned, each year during October, we honor those who have battled breast cancer with County's Think Pink event. Throughout the month of October, we will be hosting several activities for employees to show their support for those who have faced this battle. Some of the activities include a virtual 5K for employees to walk and run in support of this campaign. We will also be dedicating a page on COIN, the county's online information network, to honor victims of breast cancer and showcase employee messages to those who battled breast cancer. Employees will also be able to print and share downloadable signs to show their support of breast cancer awareness. And lastly, new backgrounds will be made available for employees to download and use in meetings on the county's virtual platform, Teams. During this pandemic, it's more important than ever to stay healthy. The county continuously promotes health and well-being through trainings, vaccinations, as well as annual screenings. Despite the pandemic, this year will be no different. Hillsborough County will continue to offer the mammogram experience to our employees through the 3D mammogram bus. The 3D mammogram is proven to find more breast cancers than the standard mammogram. And as a reminder, the annual mammograms are recommended for women starting at age 40. The county has arranged to have the 3D mammogram bus come to several locations, including several libraries, BOCC, PSOC, and County Center. With the buses located throughout Hillsborough County and neighboring counties, employees can choose one near their location, whether they are working from home or in the office. And to close, I'd like to share a quote from an employee who decided to have her first mammogram on the bus because she had just turned 40. She said, "I decided to skip my coffee break and have a mammogram, and it saved my life." That mammogram detected the early stage of breast cancer. And due to that early detection, the employee was able to receive treatment and return to work cancer-free. Thank you, Commissioner Merman.
Oh, great words, Ivy. Thank you so much. And just to everyone, get checked every year. Thank you. And Mr. Chair, thank you very much. That wraps it up for my recognitions.
Okay, thank you. But we have some commissioner who wants to speak. Commissioner Overman, you recognize.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Commissioner Merman, for bringing this recognition forward and continuing to show our commitment towards breast cancer research As a commissioner who has had breast cancer in our family, I've had a sister who sponsored a large group of walkers up in Boston many years ago in honor of my mom, Hey Jude team. We are very aware of the impact and the fear that can happen when someone has a suspected diagnosis, as one who's gone through that. I will say to you, thank you very much, Beth, for all the research, for keeping it in the forefront of our minds, for helping me remember to pull out my pin that I did not wear today, but I will tell you, it is critically important that we support the research for breast cancer, given the prevalence in our community. And as one who took advantage of the bus being in the area last year and got a chance to do the 3D imaging, it's great that we're able to support our employees and those that work in the areas that the bus arrives. It was easy to do, it was quick to do, and it kept me on schedule for making sure that I did my annual mammogram. So thank you for everyone that's working in this effort and contributing to the research. It's critically important that we continue that trend and actually reverse it this year and really make a motion towards moving the funding available for continued research to help those who have been impacted by this and to eradicate this this terrible disease that occurs in women's lives. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Overman. Let me thank Commissioner Merman and Ms. Garland. Thank you very much for all that you do concerning breast cancer. Yes, I have had it twice, 3 times in my family. My daughter was detected with breast cancer in 2001 when she was 30 years old. That was her first bout with breast cancer. Since that time, she's had 4 other cancers, and right now she's still battling cancer 5 times. But breast cancer was the first one she detected at the age of 30 years old. I never will forget getting that call when I was in the Senate. Daddy, I got breast cancer, and it rocked the entire family. Ironically, 3 years later, my wife came down with cancer, breast cancer, and she didn't find it through a self-examination. She did all that. She found it through a mammogram. The mammogram detected it, and she had breast cancer. Unfortunately, a couple of years later, she had it again. But right now, both of them are breast cancer free. Like I said, my daughter's still battling cancer for the 5th time. And let me tell the men out there, Men Wear Pink, the fundraising drive. If you get an opportunity to contribute, please do that. I was one of the captains one year, and this year I helped Ed Noreen because he was involved with it. So again, let's make sure that we help and tell women to get the mammogram because it will save your life. So again, Commissioner Merman, thank you. Ms. Garland, thank you very much. We appreciate all that you do.
Thank you. Thank you,
Commissioner.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
And our thoughts are with your wife and your daughter.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'll present the last recognition is Chief Dennis Jones and Fire Marshal Tammy Zuller on Zoom meeting.
Yes, sir. We're here.
Good. Good morning. Hillsborough County Fire Rescue has done a remarkable job of protecting our community and raising awareness about key issues that help keep our county safe, especially when it comes to the importance of fire prevention education. Today, we recognize Fire Prevention Week and its theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen. This proclamation drives home crucial points on how residents can help reduce the occurrence of fire in their homes, especially in their kitchens. The proclamation reads, whereas home fires killed more than 2,630 people in the United States in 2017, according to the National Fire Protection Association, and fire departments responded to 357,000 home fires. And whereas cooking is a leading cause of home fires in the United States, with fire departments responding to more than 173,200 of those incidents annually between 2013 and 2017. And whereas 2 out of every 5 home fires start in the kitchen, with 31% resulting from unattended cooking, and more than half of reported non-fatal home cooking fire injuries occur when the victims try to fight the fire themselves. And whereas children under 5 years old face a higher risk of non-fire burns associated with cooking than being burned and cooking fire. And whereas Hillsborough County residents should stay in the kitchen when frying food on the top stove. Keep a 3-foot kid-free zone around the cooking area, and keep anything that catch fire away from the stovetops. And whereas residents who have planned and participate in home fire escape plan are more prepared and more likely to survive a fire, and working smoke alarms cut the risk of dying in home fires in half. And whereas in 2019, Hillsborough County Fire Rescue responded to 1,436 structure fire calls, with 123 classified as accidental cooking fires, resulting in $14,156,747 in total property damage. And whereas Hillsborough County first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention education, and whereas the 2020 Fire Prevention Week theme, Serve Up Fire Safety in the Kitchen, effectively reminds everyone to stay alert and use a caution when cooking to reduce the risk of kitchen fires. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Board of County Commissioners of Hillsborough County, Florida, does hereby declare October 4th through October 10th, 2020, as Fire Prevention Week in Hillsborough County, and urges all residents to check their kitchens for fire hazards and use safe cooking practices. Executed the 7th day of October 2020, signed by all 7 commissioners. Chief Jones, let me thank you and your staff for all that you do to make life safety issues here in our community and educating people the importance of fire alarms. So would you would like to say up your words, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chairman Miller and members of the board. I'd like to introduce our public education team. First is public educator Ashley Wiggum, public educator Vivian McElrath, our public relations officer Jessica Coy, Deputy Fire Marshal Hanson, and to say a few words, Fire Marshal Zerl.
Thank you. Thank you, Administrator Wise, Chair Miller, and the Board of County Commissioners.
Excuse me.
We can't hear you, ma'am.
Sorry. Thank you, Administrator Wise, Chair Miller, Board of County Commissioners, and thank you, my fire chief. Thank you for supporting us. Without you, we couldn't do what we do. Right now is a different time with COVID, so we have a lot of kids at home that they didn't choose the brick and mortar schools to go to. So they're home, and some of them are doing some cooking. So I think this is a pretty good time to go over some of the tips again. Chair Miller, you touched on them, but I'm going to touch on them again. Home cooking fires represent the leading cause of U.S. home fires. Unattended cooking is the leading cause of these fires. Keep a close eye on what you're cooking. Never leave cooking unattended. Keep anything that can catch fire, oven mitts, wooden utensils, food packaging, towels, or curtains at least 3 feet away from your stovetop, and always be on alert. If you are sleepy or have consumed alcohol, don't use the stove or the stovetop. If you all can help us spread those tips and get the word out, we'd love to reduce those numbers. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all that you do. And again, continue to educate our citizens in Hillsborough County of how important it is to have, especially fire alarms in your home, and how important it is to take all the precautions when it comes to kitchen fires. Is that they're one of the most dangerous things we could have. So again, thank you to all of you. We appreciate it very, very much. I want to thank all our recipients today for joining us, for everything that you do in Hillsborough County to make it a great place for all of us to live, work, and play. Again, thank all of you for being here. Ms. Wise, changes to the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have item F3, your item, is a request to staff to provide a recommended approach to address future BOCC discussions for emergency management for COVID-19. As you mentioned previously, the 2020 Ellsworth G. Simmons Good Government Award to be presented to former State Senator Arthenia Joyner is being deferred to October 21st. Item A57 has been deferred to October 21st, which is the minutes from the Affordable Housing Advisory Board. We have a few items for time certain. At 10:15, item F2 is Commissioner White's item to receive a presentation from the Hillsborough County Anti-Drug Alliance on prescription drug takebacks. Item E1 at 10:30 is an appearance by Tom Morrison, Counsel to the Industrial Development Authority, for a bond issue relating to Tampa General Hospital. And which is related to item before at 10:30 for the approval of that particular bond issue, $800 million for refinancing, revenue refunding bonds for Tampa General Hospital. Mr. Chairman, those are the changes to the agenda.
Move the changes.
We have a motion by Commissioner Merman.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Overman to approve the changes to the agenda. Seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Merman,
Yes.
Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you. We now move into public comment. The board welcomes comments from citizens about any issue or concern. Your opinions are valued in terms of providing input to the board members. However, it is requested at the same time when you address the board that comments are not directed personally against a commissioner or a staff member, but rather directed at the issues. This provides a mutual respect between the board members and the public. The board has set aside a 45-minute period in the morning immediately following changes to the agenda for public comment. At the discretion of the chair, the board may again hear public comments at the end of the meeting. Anyone who wishes to speak during the meeting will be able to do so by completing the online public comment form found at hillsboroughcounty.org/speakup. You'll be required to provide your name and telephone number on the online form. This information is being requested to facilitate the audio conferencing process. The chair will call on speakers by name in the order in which they have completed the online public comment form. Prior authorization is on a first-come, first-served basis. An audio call-in number will be provided to participants that have completed the form after it is received by the county. All callers will be muted upon calling and will be unmuted in the as they are allowed to each speaker to speak. Citizens speaking on the scheduled agenda items will be heard first before speakers speaking on non-scheduled agenda items. While the board has set aside a 3-minute time period for everyone to speak. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak loudly. Our first speaker is Curtis Brown.
Yes, my name is Curtis Brown, and I'm speaking about agenda item B1, which is the acquisition of land to add to the Bomboyette Preserve. I support the acquisition of additional environmental lands because particularly at Bomboyette, that allows you to build a corridor for animals and wildlife. However, that particular preserve is unique among the environmental lands. You have 32 other properties open to the public where the idea is just to have a nature preserve and not develop or cause any development on the property. What's unique about Bomboyette is you also have the mountain biking trails there, which people come from all over the state to utilize. And they're well maintained, and the group that you partner with does an incredible job. However, I'm asking that you reevaluate if you're going to add to this preserve. There's a problem where the county is not stepping up to its responsibility in this preserve. This preserve has more visitors per day than probably any of your conservation parks. You can go by there right now and there'll be 15 to 25 users. You move the entrance to develop it to increase the parking lot to about 100, 125 spots. And on the weekend, that is not enough. Any weekend day, you're probably having 400 or 500 users, even more. And you have no restrooms at this site. You have no sanitation at all. Apparently, there was porta potties there. However, they were taken out for COVID. Well, that doesn't stop people's biological needs because COVID is going on, and that shouldn't have been what was there in the first place. The parking lot looks like a locker room because the people come that use a biking, and this should be known that you're getting someone that knows what they're doing. The people change into their biking clothes, go biking, change out, and go to work or wherever else they're going. There should be changing rooms and showers and bathrooms there. You wouldn't consider having Lettuce Lake with no bathrooms or Lithia Springs, one of your regional parks, and this park has more users. So I'm asking, as you're looking to add to this preserve, that you also reevaluate the expansion that was done and why restrooms were left out of it. The one other issue I would like to bring to the commissioners also confirm about the environmental lands. I'd like to see the commissioners adopt a policy that trash cans are at the entrance to all the preserves in the honor of the stewardship of the property of keeping it clean. That is not currently happening, and staff has fought me on it. There's places where the community is providing the trash cans, and there's preserves where there is no trash cans at all. The public is piling trash at the entrance. People are expected to go collect after their animal, take the bag with them through the miles and miles that they spend there, and then take it home to dispose of the trash.
Mr. Brown, your 3 minutes are up, sir.
The public that comes in to clean up trash.
Mr. Brown, your 3 minutes are up. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Donna Klein.
Hi, good morning. This is Diana Klein. I'm here today to talk about the unconstitutional, unwarranted local state of emergency order that you have imposed on the residents of Hillsborough County. There is no pandemic. It's evident from the past 3-month-long proven 99% recovery rate of the coronavirus that we are not in a local state of emergency. In God's word, in Isaiah chapter 10, God warned the Israelites by stating, "Woe to those who decree unrighteous decrees, who write misfortune, which they have prescribed, to rob the needy of justice, and to take what is right from the poor of my people." You are robbing the residents of Hillsborough County of their health, wealth, and freedom with your unwarranted state of emergency order and mask mandate. Your unrighteous decree is causing more sickness, death, civil unrest, and despair than the virus itself. It's apparent that your unrighteous decree has been a political scheme to destroy the economy, to interfere with this year's elections, and to profit from an anticipated coronavirus vaccine. Put an end to this madness. It's time for you to govern with righteous judgment. God's word says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when a wicked man rules, the people groan." Proverbs 29:2. The residents of Hillsborough County are groaning from your unrighteous decree. You need to rescind and allow to expire the local state of emergency order and mask mandate at tomorrow's COVID meeting and resume normal business. There's absolutely no reason for anyone to live in fear of a microscopic virus. God has provided a way for us to easily dismantle and inhibit all viruses from replicating in our body if we have plenty of vitamin C, D, zinc, prebiotics, and probiotics in our bloodstream. You can find out more information on this at freedomfromcoronavirus.com. That's freedomfromcoronavirus.com. In closing, you need to know that your greatest need is forgiveness, and Jesus is the only one who can forgive you. God's word says that we have all fallen short of his glory, and that the wages of our sin against God is death, which is the permanent separation from him. But because God has so loved the world, he has provided the perfect blood sacrifice to atone for our sins. But it's only those who repent of their rebellion against God and receive Jesus' blood sacrifice as their full payment of their sin debt who are the ones who will be saved and inherit everlasting life beyond their appointed day of death in the earth. I pray you come into the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ and find rest for your soul. He is the King of Kings. He is the Prince of Peace. He is your only hope. Thank you.
Julie Jenkins.
Hello, Commissioner Miller. This is Dan from Hillsborough County Communications. Julie is no longer on the line with us.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Gerald White.
Thank you.
Gerald White. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning, Gerald White, Hillsborough County community activist. I'm here to speak on agenda item B4. Tampa General Hospital, of course, is crucially important to our community. It's quite a bit of money. That's what caught my attention related to this bond issue. And I just was concerned whether or not the public really had an opportunity to weigh in on this issue. I understand you had a public hearing. It would be nice to see what the public, at that public hearing, had to say about this significant bond issue. And also, as you know, I served on the hospital authority for 8 years and served in the capacity as a vice chair of the hospital authority. Also just wondering what the what position the authority have, hospital authority have on this bond issue. I support it, but it would be nice to know whether or not one of the main issues at that authority has been minority business. I had an opportunity to weigh in and make sure everything was in order and will continue to be in order once the bond issue is passed. So those just are my concerns about it. I support it. Just have some questions and concerns. Make sure the commissioners, you guys, madam and sirs, vet this out thoroughly. Before I leave, also, I didn't place this, but F3, I would hope that we would continue allowing folks to call into commissioner meetings once virtual meetings are ended in Hillsborough County. I think this has served the public very well to participate, and I hope that will be able to continue while you also appearing in person before the Board of County Commissioners. And before I leave, I just want to thank Les Miller for his tremendous service as a commissioner, a Tampa City Councilman, a Florida representative, a state senator, and just an overall community leader in his tremendous service to the people of Hillsborough County. This is something that has served all the citizens very well in his tenure, and I just wanted to just thank him before the elections took place for his outstanding service. Thank you, Commissioner, for my concern.
Thank you, Mr. White, and thank you for your very kind words. Appreciate it so very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. That was our last speaker. Can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Chairperson.
Motion by Commissioner Merman, second by Commissioner Kemp to approve the consent agenda. Seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan, Commissioner Hagan, Kemp,
Yes.
Merman,
Yes.
Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Ms. Wise.
Board members, we have about 4 minutes before the 10:15 time certain, and I didn't know if Commissioner White, your group was prepared, or if you all wanted to waive the rules in order to move that up about 3 minutes.
Sure, Ms. Wise, my folks are here, so I'll make a motion to waive the rules.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Merman to waive the rules to take up item F2. Seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan, Commissioner Hagan, Kemp,
Yes.
Merman,
Yes.
Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Commissioner White, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I have some representatives, or at least one representative here today from the Hillsborough County Anti-Drug Alliance to talk about the upcoming prescription drug take-back program. As you all know, I'm a pharmacist professionally, so this is something that's near and dear to my heart. These take-back programs, among other things, can deter drug diversion. They can serve to prevent medication errors. And for my environmentalist colleagues on the board, it's also a way to dispose of unwanted, unused prescription medications in an environmentally friendly manner. So with that being said, I believe it's Ellen Snelling that I have here with me today. And Ellen, if you have any other representatives from the Alliance with you, I'll ask you to introduce them. I'm not sure who, if anyone else, has been able to join the call, but I know you have a presentation prepared for us, Ellen, and we're so thankful to have you, and I'll turn it over to you for that presentation.
All right, thank you, Commissioner White. I don't have anybody else on that I know of. They may be listening, but I'll go ahead, and I just want to thank you again for inviting me for this opportunity to talk about this really important program. And I am the board chair of the Hillsborough County Anti-Drug Alliance, and this is one of our programs that we support. We've been doing this since about 2008. And as Commissioner White said, it's a way to keep drugs out of the wrong hands. It's a safe disposal method. And we also are able to educate people when they come about prescription drugs and possibly help get people into treatment. and it is environmentally safe. Next slide. And the Anti-Drug Alliance is a community coalition, and we work with many partners throughout the community to try to keep our children and families free of drug abuse and addiction. Next slide. So the Take Back Day is sponsored by the DEA, and it's twice a year. Unfortunately, the April DEA Take Back was canceled because of COVID. So we feel like this one is extremely important because it's the only one for this year in 2020. And we know people have, just from past experience, they tend to hoard their medications, sometimes up to like 10 years. So, over the past year, I'm sure there's plenty of medications in their medicine cabinets that they need to turn in. So we're really excited about being able to get back to this. So it's October 24th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And it's a convenient, safe, and anonymous way for people to dispose of their medications while we can educate the public on the potential for abuse. Next slide. And one of the reasons we do this is because of prescription drug abuse. So people take opioids and other prescription medications for specific reasons. It's recommended by a doctor and prescribed by a doctor. But almost 10 million people in 2018, according to a national survey, misused these controlled prescription drugs. We find that the majority of abused prescription drugs among youth and our young adults and older adults can be obtained from family and friends right from the home medicine cabinet. So this, again, is an opportunity to provide everyone the day that they can clean out their medicine cabinets and get rid of unused and expired medications. Next slide. So we call our local effort that goes along with the DEA Take Back, we call it Operation Medicine Cabinet. And there's going to be 4 Take Back collections in Hillsborough County. To find a collection site near you, you can go to the Take Back Day DEA website and put in your zip code. It tells you the closest one. And a flyer is posted right now on the hcada.com website. Next slide. So the Take Back collection sites for October 24th, they're always sponsored by law enforcement. So we have to have a law enforcement officer at each one of these. One of the reasons is because they're going to be disposing of it in a safe manner. And also, we are going to have oxycodone, fentanyl, substances like that. And we don't want to take a chance on, someone coming and actually wanting some of the medications we're collecting. But our law enforcement is a very important partner. So the Sheriff's Office is going to be sponsoring at Brandon Regional Hospital and Walmart on West Waters. Next slide. The Tampa Police Department is sponsoring 2 sites as well. And this is the CVS on Gandy and Walmart on Dale Mabry that's near 275. Next slide. And just to talk about some of our partners we've had over the last few years, of course, the DEA, all our law enforcement agencies, CVS has been a great partner, Walgreens, Walmart. The USF College of Pharmacy has been an excellent partner. I can't tell you how many times their students have helped us with this effort. And also Memorial Hospital of Tampa. Next slide. And this is just, you can just go through these like one after the other, but it's just showing some of our take back efforts. And I just want you to know, we use volunteers, we have educational materials, we're friendly, and we're welcoming. And you can keep going through. There's like 5 of these slides just showing some of our different efforts over the last years. And we want to get the word out so that everyone will come. You could go to the next slide. On October 24th, and it's between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And again, we're collecting unwanted medications and educating the public at the same time. Next slide. And this, I wanted to show this one because it has some of our University of South Florida College of Pharmacy students helping us. Next slide. And this was at Walmart on West Waters. We did this in last October. And they supplied some of their security officers within the Walmart that helped us. And of course, we had the Sheriff's Office there too. Next slide. And this is just showing some of the boxes that we've got. And in our next slide, I'm going to tell you how much we got in October of 2019. Next slide. So just in one day at the sites on October 26, 2019, we were able to collect over 1,000 pounds of medication in 4 hours. So we do have a friendly rivalry between the sites to see, if the sheriff's office or TPD can collect the most medication. I'm just kidding, but we do try to get the word out through as many ways as possible. So if the county would like to help us get the word out, that would be awesome. Next slide. And I wanted to mention this. This is really important. In 2012, the Anti-Drug Alliance received an Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Grant. And I think Rob's on this call, and I just wanted to point him out. He's in the picture there. And the Criminal Justice Department was really instrumental in helping us get this grant. But we were able to provide, besides educational materials through this grant, a number of permanent take-back boxes to Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. So each division within the Sheriff's Office, there's 5 different ones. They each have a take-back box in their main lobby, open 24/7, where people can bring their medications in between our take-backs. Next slide. This is just showing the boxes. And then I wanted to mention that Master Deputy Hugh Williamson has provided me the data from between 2013 when the program started and now. They have collected almost 40,000 pounds of medication, which I think is outstanding. So I think overall, we're really getting the word out and doing a good job of collecting these medications that could lead to an overdose and a death. Next slide. And a couple other things that we are able to provide at these takebacks, we have something called Deterra bags. It's activated charcoal, and you can put your medication in there and some water and then close it up, and it's a biodegradable bag, and then you're able to throw it in your trash. So it's another way that people, especially during the pandemic, we want to have alternatives to where that people can't get out, that they have a way to dispose of their medications in a safe manner. And next slide. We're also providing lock boxes so that people, of course, they have to take medication. They can't throw that out. So they want to keep it in a nice, safe place to keep children and anyone else from getting into it and possibly causing a terrible accident or an overdose. And the last slide. And this is just our website. And like I said, it's hcad.com. And we do have a flyer that lists all the sites and more information about prescription drug abuse. Thank you very much. And I wanted to thank the entire Board of County Commissioners for approving, and Commissioner White had asked for $25,000 in funding for us. We and the whole board is extremely appreciative of the board approving that, and we're going to put it to good use. And it's especially, during the pandemic, things have changed so much. And unfortunately, overdoses, we're hearing from the medical examiner's offices, are going up, which is very sad. But we have a lot of work to do. We want to get out there and get the word out to the public and try to make a difference. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, if I still have the floor, I just want to thank Ellen for being here and for getting this presentation. This is incredibly important. It's something that'll keep people safe. It'll keep our environment safe. I think it's incredibly important for people to make note of the fact that those drop boxes are at the 5 district offices with the sheriff's office, so that you can drop off unwanted, unused medications at any time. I plan to do a press release later today as an individual commissioner, just highlighting these dates, locations, and times. And if we have consensus on the board, I'd certainly like to ask the county's communication staff to help continually get the word out about this through the month of October, leading up to those October 24 take-back dates. So to my fellow commissioners, thank you for the opportunity to bring this presentation forward. And Ellen, once again, thank you for this presentation, and thank you for all the hard work that the Anti-Drug Alliance is doing.
Thank you, Commissioner White, for bringing this forth. And I do see some hands. But Ms. Snelling, can I ask you a question? Did she leave? Ms. Snelling?
It looks like she's still here. She just hit her camera and audio.
There she is.
Okay, sorry about that.
I have a quick question. Maybe I missed it. Where can you get the bags that you can put the drugs in? Maybe I missed that.
Well, we have them in our office at the Hillsborough County Drug Alliance office, and also we are going to have them at each take-back site. And we're going to try to do it where people can just drive up. It's always outside. They're going to drive up in the parking lot, and then they're going to give us the medication. They keep it in a bag, and then we're going to try to give them like one of the terror bags, a lockbox, and some information. But we do have them in the office, so if you know of anyone that needs it, please let us know. We have quite a few bags.
Yeah, you might be talking to one right now.
Commissioner Miller, if I may, I believe some pharmacies have those as well. You know, I practice pharmacy part-time with Suncoast Community Health Centers, and I'm pretty certain I've seen those, at least at the location where I practice. So you might check with your pharmacist as well.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Merman, you recognize. Commissioner Merman, you unmute yourself.
Well, thank you. Thanks for always reminding me. I want to thank Ellen. Ellen has, and her group, the Anti-Drug Alliance, they have been staunch supporters. They do research. I mean, if you ever have a question about drugs or anything related to drugs, they are really a good resource. And I just want, because they helped so much when we were doing the opioid task force. And she did mention, yes, we had a call with the medical examiner a couple weeks ago, and they are seeing dramatic increases in overdose deaths. And it is from the dangerous, of course, the real dangerous drugs, meth and all those other ones. It's just, it's awful what's happening. So and they're trying to curb the use. And I think ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure here. They're really doing a great job to help get these dangerous drugs off the streets. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Smith, you recognize.
Thank you. And thank you, Commissioner White, for bringing this forward. Thank you, Ms. Snelling, for coming here today and helping to educate and inform the public about what is a really good program. It is important to protect the public and the environment from not just the dangerous drugs like the street drugs like meth and things, but prescription drugs can also be very addictive and lead to overdoses as well, and be very dangerous when they get outside of the people that they were prescribed for. And providing this disposal service really helps protect our community. And Commissioner White, as you say, I really appreciate the environmental protection as well, because these prescription drugs can get in our water supply and really add long-lasting pollution there that can be destructive. So I would certainly support a board-level support of this that would allow you to use the communications department for ongoing education and information. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. We appreciate everything, and I don't think we're going to have any objection from any board members. Commissioner White, for getting that, get to our communications department to get that message out. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay. Thanks again, Ellen.
Ms. Wise.
All righty. Our next item is at 10:30 a.m., so which is about 2 minutes now. So if we could waive the rules again for items E1 and B4. This is an appearance for bond from Counsel to the Industrial Development Authority to consider a bond issue for Tampa General Hospital for not to exceed $800 million. I was trying to stall to 10:30, but it looks like we're pretty close. Do we have to waive the rules, Mr. Chairman?
Well, I don't know if we have to waive the rules. I'm looking at something right now that we should be looking forward to, and that's the Rays playing baseball tonight. They're tied in a 1-1 series with the New York Yankees, and I think they're on TV tonight. Come on, 10:30. If we just continue to watch the Rays, and we've just recognized the Lightning, and so hopefully in a couple of weeks we'll be able to congratulate the Rays on winning the World Series. Come on, the World Series. And that's something that we're looking forward to. It seems like the time flies.
Ever.
Yeah, I mean, wow. Okay, Ms. Wise, you recognize.
Here we go. All right. Next, we have item E1. This is a special appearance by Tom Morrison, Counsel to the Industrial Development Authority. This is connected to item B4, which is the approval of the particular bond issue. With that, I will turn it over to Mr. Morrison.
Mr. Morrison, good morning. You recognize.
Chairman Miller, Commissioners, Ms. Wise, Ms. Beck, and staff, good morning. Tom Morrison, 1200 West Platte Street. As you know, I'm legal counsel for the Hillsborough County Industrial Development Authority. For the benefit of the public who may not know, the authority is a 7-member board of business and finance professionals appointed by the Board of County Commissioners and is supported by a staff of nationally recognized bond lawyers, professional financial advisor, as well as the county's fine legal department and economic development department and others as needed. So the team that brings these matters to you is quite competent and thorough. The authority considered this bond issue over the course of 3 advertised public meetings and a separate advertised public hearing at which no adverse public comment was received. The board thoroughly addressed the financing aspects of this transaction, as well as operational impacts that may occur as a result of the projects and financing that are undertaken, and drilled down as far as talking about hurricanes, for example, and what the hospital would do if a major hurricane struck our area and impacted Davis Island. And we were most impressed at the responses that we received from the hospital, which, by the way, is Florida Health Sciences Center, Inc., doing business as Tampa General Hospital. They're supported likewise by a staff of fine professionals, professional financial advisor, and very accomplished bond lawyers. And we found that they have a contingency plan for just about everything. Although our authority really drilled into this very deeply together with the support team over our 4 separate meetings, it was also addressed very thoroughly by the rating agencies, Moody's and Fitch, who drilled even further and talked about things such as what happens when there is no revenue coming from new facilities while they're under construction for a year or 2. And after going through all of that type of analysis, the rating agencies gave these bonds an investment grade rating and the hospital a stable outlook, as is required by your policies as a condition precedent to issuing bonds. So having done all of that, the authority at its last meeting last Thursday approved these bonds and recommends them to you for favorable elected official approval. I'll be glad to answer any questions. There are 9 separate projects that are being undertaken, which I'm sure you've seen in your backup. They include improvements and expansion at the Davis Island campus, as well as acquisition of some new off-campus facilities, including, topically irrelevant, a new oncology center in it's going to be called TGH Brandon Healthplex. So that being said, if any of you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. And I believe your staff is coming up behind me to do the same.
Thank you, Mr. Morrison. I do see a hand. Commissioner Overman, you recognize.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Morrison, for your report. I am pleased to see that the IDA is assisting in making this happen. Given our current economic environment and interest rates, it makes sense to kind of go back to our finances, look for opportunities to reduce the costs and take advantage of low interest rates. So thank you for bringing this forward. Thank you for the professionals that are working on it. And if we have more staff reports, that's fine, but I'll move approval.
Well, we have a staff report first and foremost. Then we'll come back to you. You just hold that motion just right there. Okay?
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. I don't see any other hands. Ms. Wise, you want to get to B4?
Yes, item B4, and I believe Yacha Petrovic is here to provide additional comments.
Good morning, Commissioners. Yacha Petrovic, Economic Development Department. This item is seeking approval not to exceed $800 million in Hillsborough County Industrial Development Authority revenue and revenue refunding bonds, Series 2020, for Florida Health Sciences Inc. doing business as Tampa General Hospital. I believe Tom Morrison provided a pretty in-depth kind of cover of what the bonds are. Part of the economic benefit we stand to gain is that there's going to be expected 676 new jobs that are going to be created as part of this expansion of the hospital, and obviously the continued employment of approximately 7,800 full-time and 700 part-time employees that are currently on staff with the hospital. Out of the bonds, we expect that $550 million will go towards the new projects and expansions with the hospital, and the rest of the funding may be used potentially to refund part or some of the 2012 series bonds. Also, there was a public comment. I did want to make note that Economic Development Small Business Development section of the Economic Development Department has reviewed the PGH's IDA financing application, specifically PGH's Affirmative Action Equal Opportunity Policy Statement, and was found to be in material compliance with county's requirements.
Okay, thank you very much. We had a motion by Commissioner Overman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. Is there any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Miller?
Yes.
Hagan?
Yes.
Kemp? Merman?
Yes.
Overman?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Can I add my yes in there as well?
Okay,
thank
thank
Commissioner
you.
Kemp?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. Before we move on to the next agenda item, let me say this about Tampa General. I don't know if you saw this, but the Florida Senate, out of all the hospitals in the state of Florida, will be utilizing a team from Tampa General to prepare them to get ready for a legislative session next year in 2021 to open up do whatever they can do to have the most safest session they possibly can without the spread of the coronavirus. I mean, out of all the hospitals in the state of Florida, they're utilizing a team from the Tampa General Hospital to help them do this. So I think that's a shot in the arm for our community to have a team from Tampa General going to the Florida Senate to help them get ready for a legislative session. I don't know what the House is going to do, but the Florida Senate is utilizing Tampa General. Ms. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We can now move on to the regular agenda. And this next item, item B1, is a joint item between the County Attorney's Office and the County Administrator's Office. Ms. Beck will begin the presentation. I'll take over, and then we have various staff that will be participating as well.
Good morning, Ms. Beck. You're recognized.
Good morning. Thank you, Ms. Wise, and good morning, board members and Chair Miller. Christine Beck, County Attorney. Board members, B1 is an agenda item that contains, as Bonnie said, a joint recommendation from the County Attorney and the County Administration regarding a proposed settlement. Two separate lawsuits were filed in December of 2019 and June of 2020 relating to a denial of a rezoning relative to the property at issue. In March 2020, we learned that the subject property possessed significant public purpose benefits to the water department related to their need for siting a South County water plant. And we also learned that the property satisfied significant ELAP acquisition goals. This resulted in robust communications internal to the county that led to an earnest outreach to the property owner to discuss the possibility of the county acquiring the property. It is very important to note that the joint recommendation before you is utilizing restricted funding sources, specifically ELAP funds and restricted water enterprise funds, as opposed to general funds. This means that these funds do not compete with all of the other important board policy initiatives. Oral argument relating to the first lawsuit that was filed on the petition for writ of cert was scheduled for September 2nd. In advance of that court date, mediation was ordered, and it was scheduled for August 28th. On that date, after 17 hours of participating in that mediation, an impasse was reached, and the mediation was continued to to September 3rd. On the September 3rd mediation date, there was the ability to reach a agreement, but it was contingent upon successfully negotiating a real estate contract. The mediated settlement agreement provided that that contract had to be finalized no later than September 24th. In fact, after very lengthy negotiations, the real estate contract was, the parties were able to reach agreement on that contract late on September 24. This was a very accelerated schedule, which required tremendous collaboration and effort by staff. And as you can see, the item really didn't come to fruition until shortly before this board meeting, and also pursuant to the negotiated terms of the mediated settlement agreement, we were obligated to bring this forth at this particular meeting. So this is a recommendation of your legal staff and your administrative staff. We are ethically and legally bound to make that recommendation as a result of the mediation process. However, the Board of County Commissioners is free to accept or reject the recommendation. The vote would require a supermajority vote. And if accepted, if the recommendation is accepted, the settlement calls for a closing after full due diligence by the county, no later than September of 2021. Further, the staff will be reporting back to the board within 90 days in order to identify the precise funding allocations pursuant to the various needs of the water and ELAP and so forth. If the board rejects the settlement proposal, then we simply return to our normal and customary defense of the board's actions. And again, the board has full discretion. In closing, I want to emphasize that this is a joint recommendation and to point out that it's not driven by the primary desire to settle a lawsuit. It has been primarily driven by the benefits to ELAP and to the water enterprise. The resolution of the two lawsuits is an added benefit. I want to acknowledge the dedication and hard work of several people whose forethought and collaboration allowed this proposal to be realized. And in my office, Mr. Stephen Todd, Susan Fernandez, Sam Hamilton, Vivian Arenas Battles, and Carly Schrader with the Neighbors Giblin firm. And with the administration, Mr. Forrest Turbeville, George Cassidy, Adam Gormley, Anne-Marie Lenton, Kurt Gremley, Jared Delfino, and many others. These are the team members that were actively participating in those many, many long hours of negotiation and the mediation. So the county attorney, the county administrator are jointly bringing this to you for your consideration, and I will now turn it over with your permission, Mr. Chair, to our county administrator to further explain the proposals and the public purpose behind it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beck. Ms. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Christine. And Christine provided a thorough explanation of what transpired to get us to this point. I'm going to focus a little bit on the benefits that acquiring this property will provide to the county, specifically for ELAP and for water resources. Forrest Turbeville will specifically discuss how this is a critical site of acquisition for the ELAP program, and George Cassidy will discuss how this site could save the water system over $20 million in construction costs over other sites. And so you do have the PowerPoint before you. If we could switch to the next page, please. Thank you. As was mentioned, this Ag-Mart site is approximately 800 acres in size. It is consists of two portions bisected by Riverview Road. The western portion of the site is located on the northwest corner of County Road 672, which is Baum Road and Baum River Road, while the eastern portion of the site is located east of Baum River Road. The site is in the residential planned 2 RP2 comprehensive plan future land use category and is located outside of the urban service area. A few other things before I turn it over to Forrest. Approval of the settlement agreement and acquisition of the Ag-Mart site as proposed will provide several benefits to the county. The first piece, about 468 acres for ELAP, the western parcel, as I mentioned. This is the only remaining potential connection between various preserved lands and provides a combined assemblage of over 8,000 acres. The ELAP parcel is deemed critical site for ELAP. And about the further acreage on the eastern side then is for the water resources. This is potential site for drinking water treatment plant and distribution systems specifically for South Hillsborough County. And so we believe that that could save, as I mentioned, over $20 million in construction costs compared to various other sites. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Forrest, where he could speak specifically about the ELAP benefits and go into a little bit more detail on that.
Okay, thank you very much, Bonnie, and good morning, Commissioners. Forrest Turbeville, Conservation, Environmental Lands Management. The map before you right now was presented to the board back in December of 2018 as part of the ELAP Phase 2 audit. Now, one of the objectives of the ELAP audit was to identify and prioritize critical conservation areas that were in need of protection through land acquisition. And in particular, the ELAP audit recommended focusing on the acquisition of critical wildlife corridors and landscape linkages that connect existing ELAP preserves. Now, the benefit of this strategy is really twofold. Number one, it prevents the fragmentation and isolation of existing ELAP preserves. And number two, it preserves landscape integrity over a much larger area, providing both environmental and economic benefits to the region. And in this particular map, you can see the location of the Ag-Mart property in relation to the existing ELAP preserves and other priority acquisition areas. And you can see that the ELAP portion is in white and the water resources portion is hatched in blue. Next slide, please. And this map provides an even better view of the strategic location of the Ag-Mart property. Again, the ELAP portion is the 470 acres west of Baum Riverview Road and directly connects the 5,000 acre Baum Scrub Preserve that's to the north with the 2,700 acre Baum Scrub Preserve immediately to the south. This is literally the last undeveloped parcel that has the ability to connect these two preserves. And when you look at this map and you take the larger view of the area, it actually serves as the linchpin between 5 different preserves that also include the Fishhawk Preserve, Rodine Scrub, and Triple Creek Preserves. So just to wrap up, before I send it over to George Cassidy, the 470 acre ELAP portion of the Ag-Mart property was approved as an ELAP site by the ELAP site selection team back in 2012 and subsequently approved by the Board of County Commissioners as part of the 2012 ELAP annual report. The property is considered an essential ELAP site and a priority acquisition for the program per the 2018 ELAP audit. And at this point, I'll send it over to Mr. Cassidy.
Thank you, Forrest. George Cassidy, Public Utilities Administration. And as Forrest is saying, this property is perfectly situated for the Public Utilities Water Resources Department to be able to look at our future water needs and really satisfy the water delivery concerns that we have. If we go back over the past year in our conversations about water supply to South County, you all know that we are really challenged with meeting the high demand periods of the day for our South County customers. And so back in July, you approved a modified program approach to be able to deliver water as expeditiously as possible over the next couple of years until our longer term solution, which was a new water plant be built to kind of take over for that delivery to South County. What's really nice is that modified phased approach to delivering more water down south will involve a pipeline construction that will go right past this property. And so it's just perfectly situated for us to be able to include storage and also pumping capacity or pumping facilities to be able to provide that reliable long-term water delivery to our customers that's desperately needed down south. The second really important feature to this is we had long-term, we had planned on putting our water plant at the landfill. Again, it was a lot of property. We had plenty of buffering with all that property around us. The beauty of this site is that it's appreciably further west. It means we have to build less large diameter pipeline, which is very expensive to construct. We're looking at something that would save us between $15 and $20 million in construction costs by being able to locate water delivery facilities at this site. So again, it's really uniquely situated. We're going to be running infrastructure past the property anyway. It'll be a great opportunity for us to add to our delivery capabilities and save money while we're at it. And that's all I have.
Okay, Ms. Wise or Ms. Beck, anything further?
And nothing other than I just wanted to mention that Commissioner Smith's map that was submitted separately was incorporated into this presentation. So we thank you for that.
Okay, thank you. All right, Commissioner Overman, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to thank the legal staff, George Cassidy's department, as well as Forrest Overville's department, and Bonnie Wise. It's really wonderful when all things, come together, when across departments, across teams, and with private enterprise can come up with a solution that serves the citizens of Hillsborough County in the best way. This appears to be, at this point, a true win-win-win across the board, not only for Ag-Mart, but also for the citizens of Hillsborough County, as well as the county's efforts to address our serious infrastructure needs and to address the preservation of wildlife. All of our value systems are getting celebrated today by coming up with a great mediated solution and accelerating the ability to actually make this purchase occur. So I just wanted to say thank you. I heartily support this effort and would move approval when we're ready to do so.
You can make your motion now.
All right, I move approval that we move forward with this.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Overman, second by Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Smith, you're recognized.
Thank you. And I am thrilled about this amazing opportunity for ELAP and for our water utility. This is a shining example, as Commissioner Overman referenced, of interdepartmental coordination with all these departments, our water department working with our ELAP staff and our real estate people and development services and county attorneys, and all those staffs getting outside their silos, thinking outside the box, working together to negotiate this complex package deal and bring forward something so wonderful for our county in so many ways. It is unusual for government to work this collaboratively across departments, across bureaucracies, and it's something we can all be very proud of. Can you go back to the map on slide number 4? There we go. This parcel being considered for ELAP has been in our long-term plan, and commissioners, you may know, I served on the ELAP General Committee for decades, and in fact, I served on the site selection team back in 2012 when, as Forrest indicated, this was going through the site selection process. I can assure you that is a very rigorous process that I was always very proud to be a part of in its objective review of exactly which parcels are important and classify them and prioritize them as how important they are for our whole long-term plan. And then it was identified, as Forrest mentioned, in December 2018 as a high priority, in fact, among our highest priorities for ELAP acquisition. So, I made this big map myself for y'all on Sunday, and I picked out that ELAP parcel in white, but underneath it, it is the green hashed color of our highest priorities. I made it white so you could really see how it fits in with the whole plan. ELAP doesn't just purchase isolated, scattered bits and pieces of land randomly. ELAP has been working very methodically for decades to assemble wildlife corridors and habitat that connects pieces of habitat together. And on this map, you can see how this plan and these decades of work and investment is beginning to succeed and produce these big corridors of truly viable wildlife habitat. And you can see how this piece is, as Forrest described it, the linchpin. It's literally the missing link in a long chain of our preserves. I mean, if all it did was connect the red pieces north and south, Balm Boyette and Balm Scrub, it would be putting them together in over 8,000 acres, and that would be worth doing. But as you can see, it connects all the county and state preserves. The blue pieces are some state preserves that are connected to ours to the north, and all the preserves that we are putting together to the south of Balm Scrub. And I don't think you mentioned, it's also preserving this little piece also protects the headwaters of Little Bullfrog Creek and those wetlands that are running right through this connecting piece. So it connects those wetlands as well. So this is our one chance to acquire this ultra high priority ELAP parcel and to have it wrapped up in a deal that also provides this this money-saving, perfect location for the South County water plant that we so desperately need. That Commissioner Merman and I have been working with Tampa Bay Water and our water department, understanding the needs of South County water supply. This is an ideal site for that too. To have this all coming together in front of us together is something that I'm just very pleased to see today and very pleased to support. So thank you.
Commissioner Kemp, you recognize.
Thank you. I also want to give my applause here. It was, I think, I don't know how the brainstorm quite came together, but I think we often see that departments work in silos and don't really kind of cross ways. And sometimes some of the best things we ever get are when everybody gets together and there's a situation like this to be had. Not only are we not going to have 1,599 homes built there, with the needed and unprovided infrastructure in those places. But as Commissioner Smith has so well pointed out, it's an incredible connector for our wildlife. And as you said too, it's just really great to know about the discipline and how well our ELAP acquisitions have been planned. And as Forrest Herberville said, a linchpin, as you said as well, in between all these different places. And so our wildlife can travel, and that certainly will be protecting our wildlife and our diversity and our ability to support that in the future. Also, another benefit, as Mr. Cassidy mentioned, the $15 to $20 million we save in not having pipes all the way out to the east, but moving them in here. And maybe that can be spent to replace some of our septic in the urban service area that has been decades there. I think we have something like 60,000 septic systems that we have to deal with, and can help to support growth and infrastructure inside the urban service area. That would be wonderful as well. You do get low pressure. The longer you move out the pipes, the lower your pressure gets, the more water that you have to have on a regular basis to operate your system. And as we know, our water resources are challenged and will continue to be challenged into the future. So from that point, it is also extremely important. So I want to thank Christine Beck. I want to thank George Cassidy, Forrest Herberville, Kirk Remley, Bonnie Wise, and everyone. And I'm sure I'm missing some people that were probably extremely important in putting this all together. But it's really time to celebrate that we have really looked at some of the challenges and grabbed those and done this, because I think this is a new day for us to be dealing with our, making lemonade out of lemons in a huge way, but it's way, way, way bigger than that. So this is really a wonderful plan going forward, and I look forward to just getting to a vote.
Okay, let me make one thing perfectly clear, that we're not.
I have my hand raised again.
For some reason, I'm not seeing your hand, Commissioner Hagan, but you recognize.
All right, thank you. I'm going to be brief. Just want to say that as the commissioner who championed the largest environmental land acquisition in Hillsborough County history, Cone Ranch, I am concerned that we are creating a bad policy of essentially using ELAP as a slush fund to deny lawful rezonings. I'm not saying there are not benefits to purchase this land, but I do want my concerns to be on the record, because we have limited ELAP resources, and as we all know, we have more lawsuits on the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hagan. I don't know what's going on with your hand, but if it's not working, just interrupt me when you want to say something. And again, let me say this and make it perfectly clear for the record. We're not doing this or buying this land for the purposes of trying to stop anyone from developing homes, 1,500 plus homes there. This is to help the people in South County to get the water that they desperately need, and that's the reason we're doing this, okay? So I want to make that perfectly clear. We have a motion by Commissioner Overman, second by Commissioner Smith to approve item B1. Seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Miller?
We need a super majority vote, yes.
Hagan?
No.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hagan, I didn't hear you.
No.
Thank you. Commissioner Kemp?
Yes.
Merman?
Yes.
Overman?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Motion carried 6-1. Commissioner Hagan voted no.
Thank you. Ms. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next item is item B2. This is a bond issue for the Housing Finance Authority for single-family housing revenue bonds. And I believe Mary Helen Ferris is here to present that item.
Yes, good morning. Mary Helen Ferris with the County Attorney's Office. This is a bond issuance if the land is appropriate to do so, meaning the interest rates of $200 million for the purpose of single-family mortgages for income-eligible first-time home buyers. There's no county funds involved. I'm not sure if we will be issuing bonds, but we do this every year just to make sure that we have the money available. The tougher hearing was held. No one showed up at the hearing, and I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Move approval.
Seeing no questions, we have a motion by Commissioner Merman, second by Commissioner Overman to approve item B2. Seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Merman,
Yes.
Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
Ms. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is item B3. This is to approve an agreement with the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay to assist us with the rapid response recovery program. This is why we call it R3 for short. And so Ron Barton is going to present that item.
Mr. Barton, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Bonnie, and commissioners. Again, this is item B3. As Ms. Wise stated, this is to enhance our R3 program delivery to the community. In this case, it's a contract between Hillsborough County and the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay. And the contract is for them to assist us in what we call the nonprofit safety net program. Sorry, just some background noise there. And so it's to assist us in the nonprofit safety net program, what we call phase 2, which is to move out to additional nonprofits in our community that provide services associated with the safety net. The agency, Community Foundation of Tampa Bay, will administer financial assistance consistent with the scope of services and program guidelines provided by the county to nonprofit safety net providers that are offering services, and as such will receive funds from the county on a reimbursement basis for these costs up to $4,500,000. The $4,500,000, just to remind you, is the amount of financial assistance that we're expecting to push out into the community. And then as well in the contract, the agency will receive up to $500,000 for administration and management of the financial assistance program. Funding for this agreement is available in the CARES Act. We budgeted it, and it's a total budget of $5 million in total. And by the way, it is a reimbursement program, both on their administrative fees as well. They'll be distributing funds and then billing the county, and the clerk will reimburse them for those funds. So they're also taking on, frankly, a significant obligation to float those funds for, granted, a short period of time, but they'll be dispersing those funds directly and then being reimbursed. I am available to answer any questions, and I respectfully ask for your approval.
Thank you, Mr. Barton. Commissioner Overman, you recognize.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Ron Barton, for that report. I'm glad to see that we're reaching out to other partners to assist us in distributing funds out to those organizations and partners that are going to assist us in taking care of our citizens. So I'm very glad to see that. My one question is that the $500,000 is a reimbursement, which is good. But if they were to max that out, that's at 11.2% for administration. And typically we cap our departments or other government contracts have a 10% max. And actually in affordable housing, we've been, for the Housing Trust, we've limited it to 5%. So I'm concerned, and I just want to suggest that they try to stay at the 10% rate. But I do appreciate their willingness to assist us in getting these funds distributed out. Was that a negotiated rate? Mr. Barton, can you assist with that?
Yes, ma'am, and I apologize. I had a Post-it note over my camera.
Oh. Well, we
So,
Yeah, we wonder where you were.
we know how we use those things. Yes, it was, and we did consider that issue. In fact, I consulted with Cheryl Howell as well to make sure that we were within bounds, which she felt comfortable anywhere from 10 to 13%. It was, was a fair negotiated percentage. I think the important items here, maybe mitigating on that circumstance, are that we need them to start immediately.
Mm-hmm.
We need them to deploy immediately. We need them to get the financial assistance out immediately. By the time we get this contract approved, obviously, they've got about 2 months. And yeah, we have December, but we all know we're going to need to start wrapping up probably end of November, early December. So it's really not, 3 months. And the other is, and that's the reason I made it in my comments, they're doing a float. And so, granted, in the end, it's a complete reimbursement, but that's a risk and an obligation they have chosen to take on to assist us. The dilemma we have in all the contracts we've done with these CARES dollars, I might point this out, is with the exception of us contracting with a governmental entity, we can't any of our partners the money. And so the reason we do that's not governmental. So that's just a handful of the considerations when we did that. I do want to also point out, in the event that the program doesn't disperse at least a minimum number of $3 million, they'll automatically forfeit $100,000 of their fees as well.
Okay.
So we try to protect our downside.
Excellent, thank you. That helps me understand not only the benefit of being able to address it quickly, but also the incentive for getting it done. And that's what's most important, is get those dollars out to our citizens that are in the greatest need. Thank you very much for your work.
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Merman, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I would like to make a motion to approve.
There's a motion by Commissioner Merman, second by Commissioner
And
Overman
if I
to
could
approve item B3. Yes, ma'am. Yes, you have the floor.
follow-up comment. I'm very happy about this collaboration. As you all know, the Community Foundation, a lot of funders in the community park their funds with them in certain subject areas. And I do think that this is something, if they see a need with a nonprofit, that they can definitely maybe leverage those funds with other funds they have that are parked there to help even make a bigger donations, something to some of these nonprofits. So I just think it's really worthy, and very excited to get this done.
Okay. We have a motion by Commissioner Merman, second by Commissioner Overman to approve item B3. Seeing no further discussion, please call the roll.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Merman,
Yes.
Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carries 7-0.
Commissioner White, your item F1, I don't know how long it's going to take, but we do have one commissioner I know that has to leave about 11:30, and I want to make sure that all commissioners get an opportunity to make comments on F3. So would you mind if we take up F3 now and then come back to your F1, Commissioner White?
I don't mind at all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. All right, Ms. Wise, we're going to take up F3 at this point, if you don't mind.
Okay, that's fine. And that's your item F3, to request staff to provide a recommendation regarding the emergency management COVID-19 meetings, given what the governor has provided for recently regarding his recent orders. With that, would you like me to proceed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. As you all know, late on Wednesday, September 30th, the governor issued Executive Order 20-246, which provided local governmental bodies an additional 1-month period to conduct public meetings virtually. The correspondence stated that the government body should prepare to meet in person beginning November 1st, 2020. And last week's special meeting for COVID-19 that was canceled was planned to be held the day the governor's prior order was set to expire. As staff, we have been working diligently to prepare for this transition and have implemented many safety precautions to keep the public and Hillsborough County's employees safe. You have witnessed many of these safety provisions and guidelines with your land use meetings already. It is our intent to transition to a meeting hybrid model whereby a physical quorum would be present for the meetings, as well as for providing the ability for board members, staff, and the public to have full access virtually as well. This will be provided not just for BOCC meetings, but for other boards and committees that have similar requirements. As you are aware, emergency management staff, communications, technology staff, and every other Hillsborough County department has been working tirelessly throughout this pandemic to provide information to the board and the public while continuing to deliver the quality services our citizens require and deserve. It has not always been easy, but as I've said numerous times, I couldn't be prouder of the work we've done. As we get ready to transition to the next phase of government meetings, I believe that we can be more efficient in the use of our human resources and still provide the information to the board and the public have come to rely upon. We now have so many resources available that we didn't have at the beginning of this pandemic, including our weekly report from emergency management, a robust website, support programs for individuals and businesses, easy email access for the public, as well as a dashboard that daily updates and reports statistics and trends related to the virus in Hillsborough County. This dashboard has been recognized by other jurisdictions and is the model for others to emulate. With all this information that is readily available and the ongoing demands on staff, it is my recommendation that instead of a separate special order meeting each week to address the emergency order, we instead incorporate this item into the regular BOCC meeting and have a standing agenda item for this purpose. In the off weeks, the chairman or the county administrator can renew the emergency order. We will still provide any written materials to the board and post the information publicly. The public will continue to have the ability to provide public comment at each board meeting and at any time in between. The board will also have the option at any time with 24 hours notice to call for a special meeting as needed. The county attorney and I have discussed this matter fully and believe this would be the preferred approach. The preferred approach going forward. Both Christine and I are available for any questions that you may have. Thank you. And I'll go grab some water.
Thank you, Ms. Wise, for doing that. With that being said, I totally agree with staff recommendation, Ms. Wise's recommendation of us having that meeting during our weekly or our county commission meetings on the first and third Wednesdays of the month, because it really takes the burden off of them. And she is absolutely correct. Our dashboard is one of the best in the state. And it gives total information. And when we have these meetings, the public will still be able to comment during public comment section, and we'll still be getting information if we need it from the Department of Health and from our staff concerning what's going on in Hillsborough County, because our numbers are still very high. And but we do know that the governor is going to let the present way of us having meetings virtually expire at the end of this month, and we have to go back to some type of meeting. And we already talked about a hybrid meeting, and staff is really working hard to make sure that happens. So I'm going to pass the gavel to the vice chair and make a motion that we accept the recommendation of staff of having these meetings of renewing or meetings of COVID-19 emergency management that we've been having on Thursdays, that we now go back to having them on the meeting days of the full county commission, the first and third Wednesday of the month, and all aspects that go along with that be incorporated within that move. That's my motion.
Second.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Miller. We have a second by Commissioner Smith. I'm unable to see hands.
I don't see it. I don't see any hands.
Well, with that, my only comment was to thank the staff, thank the county administrator, and to thank our chair for taking this leadership role. Many of our citizens are very concerned about what's going on. Keeping that part of our regular meeting will allow many citizens to get the information that they need, and have, twice a month to be able to hear how we're doing, what efforts we're taking, how our citizens are participating and providing cooperation and energy behind getting our businesses open and keeping our citizens safe. And then what we can do to continue to fight this virus is critically important. But having a public forum for the conversation and for the information is another benefit. We may actually have more citizens that watch our BOCC agenda and know what the county is doing on a regular basis as they participate in learning about not only how we're addressing COVID-19, but also how the county is serving our citizens on an ongoing basis. So thank you for the motion, for the second, and with that, we'll take a roll call.
Commissioner Kemp has her hand up.
Sorry, Commissioner Kemp, you're recognized.
Yes, I just want to thank staff as well for putting forward this plan. It always made sense to me that we would be doing this every other week on our county commission agenda. Provides again for this is where people are watching. We have been, as many people know, the outlier in the entire state of Florida, first by not having our Board of County Commissioners be the lead in these emergency situations. But second, this is what they are doing everywhere else and just makes a lot of sense in moving forward during this long-term state of emergency due to the pandemic. So this is a good plan. I'd always hoped for several months that this is what we would move towards. And thank you very much to Ms. Wise and to the emergency team for putting forward like this, because this makes a lot of sense.
Thank you, Commissioner Kemp. Are there any other hands raised or any other comments?
No, ma'am.
All right, great. Please take a roll call vote.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan,
No.
Kemp,
Yes.
Merman,
Yes.
Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
No.
Motion carried 5-2. Commissioner Hagan and White voted no.
Thank you. You have the floor, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So therefore, that means all of our scheduled meetings on Thursdays at 1:30 are now no longer will be held. So you can clear your calendars of those, okay? And let me thank Ms. Wise and her staff and Ms. Beck and all the staff that worked so very, very diligently hard since this pandemic started, having those meetings. I know it was a lot of pressure put on you and a lot of work. They became very, very inventive as we went along. Believe me, they did. So just thank you for all of that. Commissioner Oben, you raised your hand for some reason?
Yeah, I have a quick question. So we are still having a meeting tomorrow. Is that correct?
No, that's canceled.
No, that's canceled. And these meetings will actually be time certain so that people know when they can check in?
Staff will work on that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, Ms. Wise, go back to F1, please.
Right, very good. Thank you. And thank you, board members. Item F1 is Commissioner White's item. This is to direct staff to work with United Way to assist with combating the eviction crisis. So with that, we can turn it over to Commissioner White.
Commissioner White, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This item addresses the eviction crisis in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. As we all know, people are struggling after seeing their businesses shuttered or operating at greatly reduced capacity or losing a job or working reduced hours. The CARES Act received bipartisan support because federal lawmakers recognized that folks would need help in the wake of what the pandemic has caused. It's my understanding that our staff is stretched to the maximum in standing up programs to put these dollars to work. I know we're doing good work and partnering with nonprofits to put these dollars to work to provide aid to those in need. We've seen that just earlier in this meeting with one of our agenda items. The United Way is a major nonprofit that has the resources to help and stands prepared to negotiate with staff. And all that I'm asking for with today's item is simply for staff to sit down and see if they can reach an agreement with United Way to stand up a program to help with the eviction crisis here in our community. In speaking with the county administrator, it's been brought to my attention that social services staff can play just as critical of a role as the economic development staff. So I would like to incorporate them into the motion that I'm going to make in just a moment. And because time is of the essence, I think it's important to ask staff to bring a report back to the board at our very next meeting. So I'd like to incorporate that into my motion as well. So with that being said, I move to direct economic development staff and social services staff to engage the United Way Suncoast to implement and oversee distribution of CARES funds to community partners and establish a process consistent with federal guidelines to expedite the processing, review, and remittance of grant applications for the purpose of combating the eviction crisis, and to bring a report of that activity back to the county commission at our very next meeting. This would be intended to supplement the county's current R3 program and provide additional avenues for citizens who have been severely impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Second.
Wow, who all was that? Okay. Motion by Commissioner White, seconded by Commissioner Kemp, Overman, Smith, and Merman. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Overman, you recognize.
Thank you. And as many of you may know, I've been basically since March completely concerned about those that were unable to work, unable to make their bills, unable to make their rent payments, and unable to pay their electric bills. So having a partner with the Social Services Department that has rapidly set up a program to expand our rental payment program as well as a utilities program, to work with us on reaching out to the communities. I'm very excited to see that the United Way, who has a lot of boots on the ground, that can reach out to our citizens and to assist them in tapping into the resources that are available through the CARES dollars. So thank you very much, Commissioner White, for bringing this forward, and I'll heartily support this motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Merman, you recognize.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Nothing. Just
Okay,
support.
we have a motion by Commissioner White, second by Commissioner Kemp, Overman, Smith, and Merman. See, I got all that down. You didn't think I would do that, did you? Please call the roll.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Kemp, Commissioner Kemp,
Yes.
Merman,
Yes.
Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner White. Ms. Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The next item is the COVID staff report. Today we'll have Tom Fessler and Felicia Crosby-Tucker, as well as a presentation about our food relief efforts. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Fessler to present.
Mr. Fessler, good morning. You recognize.
Good morning, Commissioners. I have a report for you today. I wanted to go over the staff report for the COVID-19. And at the end of this report, we will have some very brief presentations from some of our partners that are helping us or assisting with food distribution throughout the community. Some of these slides you've seen before, so I'm going to move through these fairly quickly. I'm going to go to the slides that probably provide the information that you're most interested in and the public is most interested in. And I'm going to start with the Small Business Assistance Program. Commissioners, you can see that we are starting to have a lot of success at this point. After relaunching this program, reworking and relaunching it, we are now up to total requested assistance of about $76 million. Just to give you a little bit of perspective, the last report we presented to you, that total requested amount was $50 million. So we have currently a rapidly expanding program. As far as the total amount that's either been paid or is in the process of being paid, we're up to $39 million. Your last report showed $15 million. As far as applications, we're at a little over 5,500 now. Your last report showed about 4,400. And again, these are grants to small businesses that are ranging anywhere between $10,000 to $40,000 per business, and it's based on the number of employees that are a part of that business. One of the things that we want to do with our staff report next time is have a short video presentation. We won't do that today, but just wanted to, we did add some information within the report this time that is some testimonials from some individuals and businesses that have received funding from our programs. And as you can see, I won't read these, but as you can see, there's some very positive feedback that we're receiving. As far as our workforce training, again, this is the piece of the program that we've contracted out to one of our community partners, Career Source of Tampa Bay. This program continues to see increases in the numbers. Job seekers, we're up to, job seeker training applications are up to 2,500. And the last report, that was at about 1,700. And then we've also had increases in a number of the other areas. We've also added recently, I guess, a component to this that is actually providing some financial assistance to those that are seeking help from Career Source Tampa Bay, some financial assistance that would allow them some relief and be able to participate in the program while they're being retrained for new employment opportunities. As far as our housing and utility assistance financial assistance program, again, we're seeing a very rapid increase here. On your last report, the residents paid or in the process of being paid, we're at 1,900. Now we're up to 4,200. Your last report, we had total paid or in process of being paid was $8 million. It's now $19 million. One of the things with both of these programs, we've been over the past couple of weeks a little bit of a victim of our success in that we do have some backlog and some applications. Having identified that a couple of weeks ago, we've identified multiple staff across the county that are now going to be working full time to help us address that backlog. And we're really hoping within the next couple of weeks, we're going to see, we're going to be able to move through that backlog and get to a point where those that have been submitted applications have been approved, have received payment. This is the first time you'll see information on nonprofit programs. The last time we met 2 weeks ago, the nonprofit programs were just getting kicked off. And so we have a little bit of information for you on some of our success in these areas. We've got our daycare program. We've got 30 nonprofits that have been paid, total paid 740,000, average award 25,000. Our safety net program, which is these are the organizations that are currently funded by either the cities or the county. We're reaching out to each of these organizations and providing them an opportunity to receive some assistance because we realize we contracted them currently because they're providing what we consider to be critical services. At this point, we are at a point where we've got about $2.5 million paid out, or at about an average award of about $85,000. Then we have our information on our hotels and our University Village step-down site. One change here that we're working through right now, because the numbers are coming down, we're looking at what we're seeing out in the community. And at this point, we are in the process of winding down and shutting down the hotels that we have currently out on Fowler Avenue. And we're consolidating the quarantine and isolation unit into the inn at University Village. So we are going to be negotiating. We are in the process of negotiating with the University Village to slightly modify our agreement with them and eventually wind down or reduce the number of beds that we have with the University Village also. As far as testing goes, we're up to 112,000 tested. As of the last report, we were at 104,000 tested. So testing has gone up about 8,000 within the last couple of weeks. One of the things that you're going to see here, this is kind of a summary of where we are as far as actual disbursements. This number, last time I presented this to you, was about half the amount of that 34 million. It was at 17 million. So we're going to start to see an exponential increase in the amount of disbursements because we are now in full implementation mode. Again, we're working through a backlog, and within the next couple of weeks, I'm really hoping to see some significant payments go out. That includes payments that should be going out to each of the cities. We currently have contracts or agreements with the cities in the amount of about $25 million. We will be bringing back to you some expansion of those or modifications to those agreements to propose that we further increase the amounts that are going out to the cities to take them up to about $40 million. This next slide is basically our FEMA reimbursement. So this is separate from our CARES Act dollars, but just gives you an idea of items that were expenses we're incurring that are eligible for FEMA reimbursement. You can see that the biggest item here is testing at $9 million. You've got our quarantine and isolation sites at about $4 million, and then PPE at another $4 million. And then we also have additional grants that we've been receiving specifically related to COVID. Your last report, I believe the total award amount was about $31 million, so we've gone up about $5 million since the last report. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Felicia Crosby-Rucker. She's going to give a very short introduction, and then we do have representatives that are here today from Metropolitan Ministries, the East Tampa Business and Civic Association, United Food Bank of Plant City, and Feeding Tampa Bay. We have agreements with each one of those to provide food out in the community. Those total contracts now, I believe, are a little over $5 million. And with that, I'll turn it over to Felicia.
Thanks, Tom. Good morning, commissioners. As a result of the physical, social, and economic impact of the pandemic that it has made into our community, the need to provide meals for households has increased substantially. In response to this need, the county has partnered with 4 local organizations to do a few of things. 1, to provide food resources to persons experiencing food insecurities, to support our local partners in the coordination and distribution of food, and also to create opportunities for access to food through pantries, partnerships with faith-based communities, and drive-through food events in the community. Hillsborough County government has awarded $5 million in CARES funding. As of December, by December 30th, we will have expended $5 million in CARES funding to address food insecurities as a result of the pandemic. By December 30th, we will have provided through these 4 partnerships over 10 million meals in the community. As part of every CARES Act update to the board, we share data with you on the food relief efforts that are in the community. Today, we would like to highlight our food relief efforts, and we want to bring in our partners who are on the ground, delivering the food and coordinating the resources for people to access food. I would like to pause at this time and acknowledge and allow representatives from several organizations to speak. Then we will wrap up with Feeding Tampa Bay, our lead entity, to give a broader overview as well in regard to food relief efforts in the community. I would like to yield to Mary Heisig with United Food Bank of Plant City, Diane Hart of East Tampa Business and Civic Association, as well as Tim Marks and Christine Long with Metropolitan Ministries. We'll start with Mary. Ms. Heisig?
Okay, I think I just unmuted correctly. Hello, thank you for having me here. This funds changed our lives. It allowed us, and well, it forced us to think outside of the box of how we normally operated. Plant City's so unique, being on the corner of the farthest east part of Hillsborough County, and it has so many low-income areas in our particular service area. But it allowed us to take all the COVID precautions and follow all the guidelines to help protect our community, our clients, our volunteers, and our staff. And when we were having so much difficulty thinking we were going to have to close our doors, we were able to get supplies and stay open and feed in a way that we've never have. But just some numbers, because that really says it, and it says it alone. Normally, before COVID, we were serving around 4,000 people a month, and that increased within a month to 11,000 people every single month. And every single person had a survey. And so where were they coming from? 60% were out of work without pay. 40% could not go to work because their kids were out of school for extended periods of time. So we had a front row seat to seeing the need there. The other thing that happened to us that we started doing logistically is we started delivering to 12 different off-site low-income areas. So that took a big load off of our hard facility here, and we were able to have boots on the ground, well, trucks on the ground delivering food. The kids programs, they're just unending. We added 2 more partnerships with 2 more Hillsborough County schools, elementary schools, to help feed those kids during non-school times and on weekends. And we also added 2 more zip codes. So our lives changed dramatically, which is making us to be forced into looking at the possibility of needing more warehouse storage space. And I can't thank you enough, because it really has changed our community, and we see the faces every single day. So if you're able to see those faces, it'll touch your heart.
Thank you, Mary. Diane?
Good morning. I want to just say, let me get my camera situated. Thank you so much to Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners, and to you, Felicia, for all the assistance that you all have provided East Tampa Business and Civic Association. We were serving about 200 meals per week in our mobile food pantry, which was about 800 a month. After getting the assistance from Hillsborough County Board of County Commissioners and yourself, we have a stationary food bank located at Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church. It is a drive-through, which of course allows us to stay safe and maintain our safe distances. We just sit the boxes into the family's cars. But I just want to tell you a little bit about how it's gone. The month of March was the month of August was our very first month. We served 119,000 meals the month of August. The month of September, we've served 133,700 meals. And we're doing this with partners, and I'm grateful to have all of the partners, Hearts of Hand. These are the zip codes we're in: 33605, 33612, 33598, 33604, 33610, 33617, and 33612. So this has made a dramatic impact on our ability to serve people in all of these areas: Wamama, Ruskin, Sulphur Springs. So I just cannot say thank you enough to Hillsborough County and what you all have done. Families are so grateful. We do have some families that are driving to Tampa once a week out of Lakeland to actually pick up our food boxes. So I cannot begin to thank you enough. You know, Bethel and Enterprising Latinas and the Muslims and Christ House and growing my Giving Victory. This is a real blessing. We knew what the insecurities of food look like in East Tampa already, but now we truly know what it looks like throughout the entire Hillsborough County. So again, I cannot thank you enough. We look forward to continuing this service, and we're hoping we can go into December, but we're looking forward to it. So thank you all so much. It is a godsend and a real blessing when you see the looks on the people's faces. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hart. I'll yield to Christine and Tim.
Hey, this is Tim Marks, and Felicia, thank you for this opportunity, and I want to thank this board. You're going to hear a lot of the same expressions of appreciation. In March of 2019, beyond our hot meal program, our food pantry program helped 233 families. In the very first month of COVID, we helped 2,724 families. So over 1,000% growth in the very first month. In the summer months when kids are traditionally out of school, our numbers would grow to close to 400 families needing help. And this past summer, it was close to 7,000 families were served. An amazing 1,700% increase in the number of families served. Just a real quick loaves and fishes story. When we started this out, we had enough food in the warehouse to feed 3,000 families, 3,000 food boxes. What we've been able to do so far, just in Hillsborough County alone, with your support, is help over 40,000 families, 40,000 food boxes going out into the community. And much like you've heard before, not everybody has a car or can get to our campus, so we very much turned ourselves inside out. We have 30 plus partners that we go to every Thursday, and the partners are from Town and Country, from Temple Terrace, throughout the urban core, up to the university area, up to out into Sun City, Plant City, Ruskin, Plant City, Brandon. It's volunteers, the faith community, the churches that also enabled this. And from a personal note, we also do a lot of home deliveries. We had a lot of people that were testing positive for COVID and were quarantined. We had seniors that didn't want to go out. We had veterans that were handicapped and couldn't get out. And we would do home deliveries every Thursday and continue to do that. I had a chance to do some of those deliveries. And every time I get blessed and thanked. And I always tell the person, don't thank me or bless me. It's the community. And it's this board of directors. It's the leadership within the county. It's Felicia's leadership, all of you, the faith community, and all these other partners that have spoken before me, and Thomas as well. All of us as a community coming together and make a difference to bring hope to these families. We're so very grateful for your trust in our stewardship. And we're so amazed by this amazing Hillsborough County community, how it loves and cares for each other.
Thank you, Tim. We'll wrap up our presentation on food relief with our last couple of slides by Tom Nance with Feeding Tampa Bay.
Thank you, Felicia, and thank you to the commissioners for having us on today. And it's wonderful to hear our partners in the community. I think, as Tim said, and everyone else, I think the work that we do happens best when we do it together, and works best when we do it together. And so we certainly appreciate those partnerships, but we also appreciate this opportunity to work with our elected officials in our county to make sure that we respond to our community effectively. What Felicia asked me to do was also to kind of give you all just a bit of a sense of how we see food relief and what's happening. And I also want to give you a bit of a preview of how we see the future. While this report is detailing what will happen through December 30th, I do also want to give you a sense of where we think food relief is headed given what the pandemic has done. And so I'll ask to advance the slide here.
Yes, I apologize, but it was no longer advancing for me. I will try to unshare and reshare, and then maybe we'll free itself up.
Okay, well, so we can adjust on the fly, Tom, no worries. So the first thing that I would say to this commission that we have to understand with the pandemic is there are four major aspects to it that created a crisis that we've not seen before. So one is size. The sheer number of people impacted by COVID was larger than any other. We deal with hurricanes, we dealt with government shutdowns. The size of the number of folks impacted was far greater than any of us have ever seen. The numbers that Tim just shared, that Mary shared, they are beyond staggering, right? We see this across our community, across our state. Number two is the scope was much larger than we would have ever anticipated. So when you think about this, thanks, Tom. So when you think about scope, think about it this way. The person that worked at a restaurant was affected, but also the person that owned the restaurant was affected. So we saw this in a much greater degree than we had before. Next was simply the speed at which this happened. How many of you woke up on March 10th and said everything's okay, and March 15th it was completely different? So organizations like ours, Tim's, others, we had to develop a response immediately. And then the last thing, which is going to really it's guided us for the last 6 months, and it's going to guide us as we move forward, is the duration of a crisis. This has lasted a lot longer in crisis mode than anybody would have anticipated. And understand, when we use the word crisis, we're not using the political word, we're using the reality of the circumstances faced by those we serve. So we'll move on to the next slide, please. So we want to note that when we started all of this, the people that all of us serve on this call today largely are an employed base of folks. They're the Alice population that United Way does such a terrific job in outlining. You think already 46% of the people that we serve were in a position of economic disadvantage because they weren't earning enough to begin with. What COVID did was exacerbate that problem significantly, because most of the folks that we serve do not have the wherewithal to withstand a crisis of this nature, right? So we call them economic shocks, and the families we support, generally speaking, can't step into that. So you had a population of folks who were already struggling, and then you add on top of that people who joined the ranks. And again, as Tim and others shared, we saw significant increases immediately. And so when we look at this and the household income, as we saw in the families that we supported, you all have, and you've talked about several of these programs today, where there were existing support mechanisms put in place. But for all of us, we're looking to say, okay, what is there to support a household income? In Tampa Bay, the average family we support has about an $1,100 gap typically between income and expense every month. And so how do we ultimately cover that gap? Some of it's the cost of, the value of food, but our work, and I think Tim in particular, Min always talks about this, and how do you keep the family stable during crisis? And so that was really our thinking. So let me get to some numbers here. Next slide, please. So pre-COVID, if you didn't have this number, about 180,000 folks were considered food insecure in Hillsborough County. That rolls out to about 1 in 7 adults and 1 in 4 children. Again, for those on this call, I know I've spoken to this group before, but food insecurity generally means you do not have a stable source of food. So think about a senior that is on a limited income. Think about a child who is fed largely at school and who needs support over the weekends in the summer. Okay, but again, I think we always should pause and note that 1 in 7 adults and 1 in 4 kids are hungry every single day in Tampa Bay. And so if you translate that into meals, the number of missing meals every year in Hillsborough County was about 31 million meals, right? Pretty big number. When you look at all of the work that we do, that Tim does, that other agencies do, we were providing about 21 million meals a year, a pretty good gain on the overall need, but the reality is we weren't there. Post-COVID, we now have basically doubled the amount of folks who are food insecure. As again, several of the other folks noted who spoke, originally we were up as much as 400 to 500% in need. Now it's down to about 100%. The best way to look at that is the unemployment number. Pre-COVID, it was around 3.1%. Post-COVID, it's around 6.8%. So we suggest that we probably are still at 100% over need, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a moment. And again, as Mary and Tim outlined in their presentations, we're seeing folks in our care who had never, ever been in our care before. It was stunning to us, and I stood on a lot of food lines serving with many of you on this call, as a matter of fact, several of you commissioners on this call, handing food to people that said, I never thought I'd be here in my life. And everybody on this call knows someone who was okay pre-COVID, who is not okay post-COVID. And so we saw a significant change in the number of people that we are supporting. And then if you annualize the number moving forward, we're missing around 46 million meals. There are some data points to suggest that that number is low. And one of the things I would remind all of you commissioners, and you voted on some of this, but the things that we pay attention to both nationally, statewide, and locally is the provision of programs and support programs. So we know there's been the rent assistance programs and the eviction programs have largely expired. The additional monies paid in for unemployment have largely expired. There was not a second round of CARES Act funding provided. And I want to be clear, we're not taking a political position, but organizations like ours deal with the fallout of those decisions. We would tell you, unless those programs come alongside the work that we're doing, this number could get higher. So we anticipate the work that we do and the partners on this call do will provide about 32 million meals. And so you see the gap has grown wider. Next slide, please. So I don't want to geek you out too much, but this is an important slide for you to understand about food insecurity over the history of the last 20 years. So if you look at the slide on the left, 2000, the annual food insecurity rate was around 10%. 2020, the annual food insecurity rate was around 10%. Traditionally, in the history of the United States, it hasn't gone much below 10%. But if you look at the middle of the graph, you see the economic crisis. We saw food insecurity shoot up, and that's exactly what's happened with COVID. And importantly for you all, we look at the next 5 years ahead, because part of our responsibility is to plan not just for today in a tactical response, it's to build out the capacity and capability moving forward. One of the things we think the commission will need to understand and the community will need to plan for is we think the food insecurity rate over the next 5 years will remain very high. What that ultimately means is even though the CARES Act funding goes through December 30th, and I want to add my chorus of voices, my voice to the chorus of those saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. I don't know where we would be without the support of the commission and the county and those that have stepped in to help us do this. I just can't fathom it. But I also want to note that as we plan ahead as a community, we're going to have to consider what this means. And then let me get to my last slide. And this just is a roll-up of the support programs that you all have provided for us. And I want to use this as an illustration of how we've approached our work with you. So one is household groceries, and we've mentioned those, meals that families can cook themselves. But like other organizations, we've had to step into the provision of prepared meals. Tim beautifully talked about this, I think, as Mary did as well. We have seen so many people that could not get out of the house and get to meals. And so we've built out programs to bring meals to them. And we see that continuing. We also, because our work increased dramatically, we had to build out an additional workforce. Volunteers, just FYI, also dropped dramatically during COVID because of security concerns or safety concerns. So we developed a program to hire furloughed workers to help us do that work. And so we're spending our money across those major resources. And then as we look ahead, we've asked for some additional support for warehouse rental and cooled storage. And I mention those only because they help outline the ongoing needs that we have in order to make sure that the community can be supported. One of our great challenges is being able to get as much food as possible. I think I've shared this with Felicia before. In the history of our organization, we've never purchased very much food. Right now, we're purchasing $250,000 to $300,000 a month of food, in addition to all that we get donated to us. This crisis, again, has been unlike any other, and the disruption to our food supply lines has been a factor for us to consider also. With that, I just want to finish my presentation by saying I think folks have said this, but I think that Carl and Felicia and the folks that have worked with us at the county have done superhuman work in very difficult circumstances. They were partners before and great partners at that, but I just can't stress this commission enough how much that they have stepped in and made it possible for us to leverage the resources brought into the county and spread that across to the community that we all care about and serve. So thank you very much, Felicia, for the opportunity to present today.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, county leadership, county commissioners, and our local partners. We could not do this without you. If there are any questions, we have our partners still online, and we can ask any questions about the food relief.
Okay.
Any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Fessler. Is there anything else? Mr. Fessler, Mr. Kemp, I'm gonna get to you.
Yes, that would be the conclusion of our report.
Okay, all right. Let me thank everyone for this presentation. Staff, let me thank those Feeding Tampa Bay, United Food Bank, East Tampa Business and Civic Association, Metropolitan Ministries for all that you've done during this COVID and making sure that those folks that were suffering the most and didn't know where they were going to eat the next day was able to get food. But let me point and staff, all the staff, thank you very much. Ms. Felicia Crosby-Rucker, let me thank you for coordinating this. You did all of this after you suffered the loss of loved ones to COVID, I think in Mississippi. And you worked hard. I spoke with you, worked hard while you were out there coordinating a lot of things and still working hard back here to make things happen. So on behalf of this county commission, all the staff of the county, and every citizen of Hillsborough County, thank you for all that you've done. We appreciate that. Thank you. Commissioner Kemp, you're recognized.
Thank you. I also want to thank staff for everything they've done in coordinating this. I know it's been a huge lift that everyone has made to help this community, and all the organizations who not only are there all the time, but in a super huge way at this time when we have this super incredible need. But I'd like to especially thank you, Mr. Mans, for that forward-looking presentation. I just keep wondering about what we are going to be facing, and I can appreciate that we already had a great need, as you pointed out, for decades now. And the need has remained, and it hasn't really been dealt with. And despite our unemployment rate dropping over time, we have a huge need in the community. I think COVID has really made that need. We've seen it even even in a greater way. And we've seen the divisions and inequities divide even greater in terms of seeing who this pandemic has hurt the most and who needs help the most. So thank you to everybody for their work, efforts, but I was very interested in kind of seeing what we're going to be facing. So I did really appreciate that outline. Thank you very much.
May I have a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Kim, second by Commissioner Overman to receive the report. Again, thank you everyone for all that you do. And you're going to have to do a little bit more continuously because I don't know what's going to happen with this pandemic. Thank you very much. We have a motion by Commissioner Kemp, second by Commissioner Overman. Please call the roll.
Miller,
Yes.
Hagan,
Yes.
Kemp,
Yes.
Merman, Commissioner Merman, Overman,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Motion carried 6-0.
Again, thank you very much. Ms. Wise.
Thank you all. The next item, Mr. Chairman, are future discussion items.
Are there any future discussion items? Any future items? Any future items? Seeing none. Once, seeing none. Twice, close. Is there any further business to come before us today, Ms. Wise? Okay.
Nothing
Let me thank the commissioners for being on the call, on the meeting, not the call, the meeting. Thank all of those that participated today. Thank all of those who worked tirelessly to help the people in this county. And it's just beyond words of what we can say to thank you for all that you've done to help us during this pandemic. And there's probably a lot more to be done because we don't know where it's going to go. Again, remember, we have no meetings on Thursday any longer. So if I don't talk to any of you again before the weekend, have a great weekend, stay safe, and we'll adjourn.
Stay safe, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.